Good morning it is. Get your head right, you will. Ben and Woods we are.
It's National Talk Like Yoda Day.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, May the 4th was a while ago.
I don't just launch into it. I obviously wait for the day, National Talk Like Yoda Day. And that's today. Happy NTLYD to everybody out there. We are Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the EP, executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Morning good it is.
Good morning it is.
Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, probably the closest thing to a Star Wars connoisseur on the show.
I am. I'm the resident Star Wars nerd. I'd love to hear Yoda having a conversation with Admiral Akbar, which I don't think ever happened in the actual course of the trilogy or 9 movies.
Get a facelift, you will.
A guy has those jowls. My greatest fear in
Phil
life.
Henry over here.
My greatest fear in life is one day waking up in the mirror and looking like Admiral Akbar with the skin that just, drags down and is loose.
But the only thing worse is when you get older and you clearly have tightened up your skin.
It doesn't
too
matter.
Much
Who
and you
cares?
look like the Jack Nicholson's
Listen,
Joker.
It's
Batman.
It's a needle that we all must thread. I would rather be seen and somebody go, ooh, he must have had some work done, than, oh my God, look at that guy's jowls on his face. Like, I'm not going to go crazy with it.
Jerry Jones over here is ready to stay young into his mid-80s.
Listen, I'm going to fight it. I'm not going to fight it with every inch of my being. Like, I'm not going to dye my hair and things like that, Benny. But, I mean, I don't want to be walking around looking like, at Bo's high school graduation, like, dude, your dad has jowls that, like, hang over the side of his jaw. I don't want that, man. I don't want it for him. I mean, it's a thing. It's really a thing. It's not only about you. When you have kids, it's about your kids. And I had one of those moments yesterday at Field Day. They did Field Day at Bo's kindergarten yesterday. So I went out and volunteered, and it was awesome. We got the class out and said hello and got them all out to the field, and they had little lanes set up and ribbons and the finish lines and stuff like that. So the kids all ran. They did potato sack races. They did egg races, bubble races. It was awesome. They're having a ball. My son loves to compete more than anything in the world. He competes on who got out of the shower faster, who got their underwear on quicker. Oh, my socks are on faster. Look at me. I got my everything is a competition.
Where the hell
I have no
could
idea.
he have gotten that
I have
from?
no idea whatsoever. Maybe his mother, Paulie. I have no clue.
I don't know.
He's the most competitive human alive. So the guy that's like running the show says, hey, I'd like to, let's get the parents out here and do a parent race. I went, oh, my God. Now, if anybody knows me, has ever played ball with me or anything, I'm not what you would call fleet of foot. I run a little bit like Jerkson Profar does. The high knees, the hands swinging. Watching him run is like looking in the mirror. I know he's faster than me. He's also got I've got like 16 years on him, too. So, you know what I mean? I'm 48 years old. But they call us out. They line us up in the lanes.
So I don't know who the other parents are, but if I'm just handicapping this race from a neutral perspective, I've got to figure there are some younger parents than you.
Correct.
In the audience. I'm putting you as, you're like, if this was the Kentucky Derby, you're like a 12-1 middle of the field sort of shot. You're not one of the favorites, probably.
I would say I was the oldest parent running.
Okay, so maybe like 20 to 25-1.
They line me up. I'm next to a guy with a beard, obviously. He's got a beard, because who doesn't? In Encinitas, who doesn't? He lines up next to me. I look over at him. I go, all right, he's also dressed head to toe in athleisure because, well, look where we are. And I looked at him. I got 50 pounds on him. I'm dead. I look down. I see another very fit dad. I'm like, all right, man, do this.
How many beanies?
No beanies.
Oh,
No beanies. Which surprises me because it was like 73, which is definitely beanie. That's about 15 degrees cooler than normal beanie weather in Encinitas. About 87 is where they draw the line. I didn't see any beanies. I didn't see any vests, but we lined up on that line, man. And I looked over, and there's my little guy, dude, sitting there, both hands like up to his mouth, like oh, God. Nervous for me. And I looked at him, and I was like, "All right, bro,
don't embarrass me, Dad."
I was like, "You got to get it, man."
You can hear your hamstrings already
Yeah,
screaming.
and we played Sunday, so my legs are a little banged up anyway. And I'm like, all right, bro. Life all comes down to a few moments. And this is one of them. And the guy said, on your mark, get set. Woo, blows the whistle, and I am out, man. And I am digging.
What's the length of this race?
I'm so bad with Paulie, what would you call that? Maybe 90
40 meters?
No, it's longer than that. They get the back shot there.
No, it's about 40 meters.
Okay, there you go. It's a sprint.
Maybe 30.
It's a sprint.
It's a short sprint.
Short sprint. So I'm jamming. Then you see me come in at the end, and I win it. I won
photo
it.
finish.
Photo
You
finish.
leaned at the tape.
I leaned at the tape. They didn't.
You jumped at the tape.
Yeah, the tape was down, so I just jumped over the tape because it was up, and then they put it down. So I just jumped. And your boy comes out, beat the bearded guy next to me. Now, let me say this. I have never once, ever won a race. Never. In elementary school, in kindergarten, name it. I've never won a single race. To win that race yesterday and to finish, and I looked over at my son, and he was like, I walked back around, he was so happy. And I thought to myself,
Number 1.
yeah, and I thought to myself, holy cow, man, what a cool moment that was. Now, later on, so Cole said if I wore more Vuori, I'd be faster. I was in head to toe, so I don't know that I possibly could have been faster. But I go around, Bo's so happy, and he's like, you did it. I'm like, I did it. And then I was like legit happy. Now, what I didn't realize in this video until I watched it later.
You burying the lead here a little bit.
I'm burying the lead.
Congratulations on
Yes.
your win.
Yes, I'm burying the lead here. At one point, now Hannah's racing in it too. At one point, after I watched the video, I look and I see a mom absolutely scorpion.
That's not Hannah,
That's
though.
not Hannah.
Okay.
You'll see Hannah
Hannah's
double back.
in a black shirt right behind her.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there she comes.
Coming into
and
the frame.
one of the moms goes down, and she goes down hard.
Now Hannah's doing the old. You see it in like movies, like, oh, I'm going to stop and help this person that fell, and then they're going to pull my arm down and then
Correct.
take off running.
So Hannah slams on the brakes. She goes back. But this mom went full scorpion. I mean, hit the ground, the feet go up behind you, and you're like, ugh. Oh. So that was all. Listen, I definitely wanted to win, but I also am glad I didn't do that because Bo wouldn't be able to show his face at school. She said after, she goes, yeah, I think my daughter, I won't say her name. She goes, I think my daughter is, I've ruined kindergarten for her. I think that we can't maybe come back here. Now, again, I didn't see it until after. And then, she goes, if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm so sorry. She eats ass so bad.
Go subscribe.
So bad. Yeah, go subscribe. This is why you do it. But it was pretty amazing. She's so sweet, too. I felt so bad. And, by the way, she's like a runner. She and her daughter ran like a marathon this weekend.
Just caught an edge.
Caught an edge. Yeah, caught an edge. And just
Gonna go for a hole of some sort. I mean, this isn't the most pristine grassy track I've ever seen.
But I honest to God, I racked my brain. I never won first place in a race in my whole life. Ever. No long distance, no short distance, no nothing.
No, I've never won a race.
Ever.
I'm proud of you.
never won. I
That's
was
incredible.
pretty proud of myself, dude, because when I lined up next to him, I went, oh,
Cash
no.
your long shot tickets.
Yeah. When I lined up next to him, I went, well, look at these guys. These guys are way more athletic and young. It's the youth, But I wasn't fast when I was young. So it felt good. Bo had a great time. It's field day was so fun. And I think it was also paralyzing for some kids, too. And I try to remember that as well. So I was trying to be supportive of all the kids out there that weren't, like, super excited to be out there jumping in a sack and things like that. But it was pretty cool, man.
We
Pretty cool.
are in such different stages of parenthood.
Yeah.
You're running races for your 6-year-old. I took my newly minted 21-year-old out for a drink yesterday.
How'd that go?
On his birthday.
Did he get hammered?
No, he doesn't. I don't think he liked it that much. We tried to find something that he might enjoy. We
Like
tried
Like a cocktail?
Yeah, we tried a mango slushy margarita.
All right, wait, hold on.
Well,
so what was his experience? He turned 21
not
yesterday.
much, you know.
He's had a beer.
A couple of beers, you know, that he didn't really like.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
and
beer was an acquired taste.
Then we went, and I said, how about one of those hard ciders? Because he likes apple juice. And I thought,
I
that
like
could
apple
be.
juice.
And that one went down okay. I don't think he loved it, but that was better than the margarita.
I love you just pouring drinks down his throat. Find something you like right now.
He's got the rest of his life to experiment and practice and figure it out. But so, you know, when Bo turns 21, you'll be what? 63?
Oh, God, is that right? 63. Oh, my God. Talking about that race I won at Field Day? Guaranteed. Talking about... Bo, darling, mix me up another Manhattan, please. Dad. So, all right, tell me more. I want to know. So you got a mango margarita.
Yeah.
He didn't like it.
Didn't love that. Then we
So that's tequila in there with mango. That's not my favorite.
Yeah.
So tequila
had the tahine rim. It was kind of, you know, a fancier drink. Thought that might be good.
Okay.
A little sweetness, fruitiness to
Yep.
it.
So he tried that.
Didn't really like the tequila, I don't think.
Did you crush the rest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good boy. All right, then.
And then we had the cider. And then Mom, because I was at work, they got a bottle of Vouv. And I guess he liked that okay.
Oh, he likes champagne.
Yeah, champagne.
I promise you right about now, it's not feeling so good.
Not as good.
I remember the first time I had champagne. I was like, this stuff's amazing. We can drink it all night. And the next day, you're just like,
I have a headache. Just
it makes
thinking
me,
about it.
the thought of champagne makes me hungover.
I remember when my older buddy in college turned 21 and we needed something cheap. We went to CVS.
Yeah.
They had 3 bottles of champagne for $9.
Yeah,
deal.
crush it.
Drank
Freshenet
that.
or something.
That was as sick as I think all of us had ever been at that point. So
I'm trying to think of like the first thing I ever got absolutely bombed on was vodka. Stupid. Vodka poppers. You remember those? You take a shot glass, you put vodka in it, a little 7-Up, and then you put your hand over the top of the thing, pop it, and then you don't really have to do it, but that's just what you do. You pop it and it fizzes, and then you slam it, and you think you're, hot ass. Well, I mean, we had about 30 of those because they're pretty easy to drink.
Oh.
It did not end well.
I had
the next day.
I think my first really drunk night involved vodka from Pinnacle. They have all the flavored vodkas.
Oh,
it was
no.
Pinnacle whipped cream with orange soda. It was
I bet it
was
tasted
an orange
good.
creamsicle, bro.
Tasted
It was
delicious.
You didn't taste a thing. It was incredible. It's like, this is happening all night. Did not end well for
No,
the
it
boy.
doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
so he probably also learned a little lesson too. If you mix cider and you mix
Tequila.
champagne, probably didn't drink a lot of the margarita, so it'll probably be okay. The sugar is what really murders you. It just murders you.
That was my first blackout. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't know about mixing types of alcohol
Yeah.
together. And
Yeah.
my buddy won this open bar downtown, invited a bunch of us. It was all you can drink.
And you just start
and
ordering stuff.
I was doing whiskey and cokes. Then they ran out of whiskeys. I'm like, I'll do a rum and coke.
Give me a Harvey Wallbanger. Give me a
Holy
Singapore
crap.
slut.
I think
Singapore
you have to
sling.
follow
Sorry.
that old mantra. Then I don't think it's scientifically proven, but liquor before beer in the clear.
Never fear.
Beer before liquor.
Never
sicker. That's what they say.
It's all garbage after a while, man. The older you get, it's all garbage. Anything you drink, you're like, nope, not agreeing with me. That's awesome, though. It's fun to toast your 21-year-old. Yeah, Bo will. I'm sure he'll wait till he's 21, knowing the kind of personality that he is. He is a good self-regulator, so he actually may. He's a very good self-regulator. But he's also 6, so we'll see. There's plenty of time for him to turn into an even bigger turd. But it was a great day yesterday. So much fun. And obviously, Padres win a game yesterday, lose a game yesterday, but I'm not sad about it at all. Not even in the slightest. That was one hell of a series they just played in Atlanta.
We will set the menu for the Tuesday program coming up next. I will say we have a newly minted major champion.
Now, that's the second time you've said newly minted in the last 5 minutes.
That's true.
Which is very
newly
odd.
minted 21-year-old and newly
this-
minted major champion.
Is this a new bit? All right, it's the newly minted Ben and Woods. We'll be right back to test the newly minted menu.
Traffic with Kelly
newly minted Kelly Danik.
Danik. All that newly minted traffic out there on a Tuesday morning on San Diego's #1 sports station. Newly minted, number
Newly
one
minted, number one,
sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
Now it's day 2 of no printer. How are you guys holding up?
Okay, I'm managing with the digital copy of the rundown that Paulie gives us every day. I know it throws you off a little bit to have to look at your screen and toggle between different tabs.
Yeah, it does. It does. Don't you like having the...
Sure,
but run it through your fingers. I'll pretend.
Occasionally, we're on remote and don't have access to a printer, so it's something that I've learned to deal with.
Yeah,
and it's okay. We'll be okay.
I just wonder.
We're gonna move California forward.
I just wonder. I mean, I don't see anybody over there like working on it with wrenches and stuff.
The Konica repairman is not here yet at 6:24 in the morning.
He all day yesterday too. So. It's all right.
But we're going to press on nonetheless.
Okay. How's the ping pong table? Still in good work? It's working?
It's in functional working order, I believe.
Good.
Oiled,
good.
Ready to
All
go.
oiled, greased up, ready to go.
Woodsy will take a screwdriver to that.
I just broke my backpack. I had a Padres backpack, and I broke it, the strap. And so my wife dug around in the closet, pulled out the old. Now I am officially a company man. I have this Odyssey backpack that they gave me, and it is very durable. There's yours. Ben and I both carrying the Odyssey backpacks. So I like it. How do you like yours?
Mine's broken, but...
Oh, I was going to give you
gonna
mine.
give me that
I'm
one,
so
but now
glad I did it.
Now you need it.
I just remembered. I was going to
One
get
of the pockets doesn't close
That's
anymore.
why his face dropped when I said
You
broke my
found it.
backpack.
You were going to give it to me, and
really
now
was.
you're using it. It's now your primary
Dang
backpack.
Dang it. I'm so sorry, Benjamin. Set it up for us. Big day here.
We've got a
Massive.
Xander heavy program today. First half of the show, we will be talking a lot of Padres baseball, including the injury suffered by Xander Bogaerts in Game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday against the Atlanta Braves. Early reports were fairly positive, but he did not play in Game 2, so we'll certainly be keeping a close eye on that today and for the rest of the week, with Xander Bogaerts finally seemed like he's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. Even he said,
hit the ball hard, yeah.
I feel pretty good now. Hitting the ball, with some authority and breaking out of what had been a season-long slump. And, of course, when you're going bad, that's the time that you get hurt. Diving for a ball in the third inning yesterday in Game 1. Turned out to be important. I guess if you're going to get hurt, going back in retrospect and going, you know what, I probably saved a run.
Not probably. Yeah, he saved a run.
And
for sure.
it turned out to be the difference in the game, and we won it. So if you're going to sacrifice your body for something, that's something that you probably can at least go, well, at least it counted for something. And we didn't end up losing 11-0, and I could have just let that thing go into the outfield and been fine. So we'll talk Padres early in the show. We also have our regular features, Take on Woods and Don't Do This, in the 7 o'clock hour. But coming up in our 8 o'clock hour at 8:35, we are scheduled to be joined by Xander Schauffele off of his PGA Championship win at Valhalla in Kentucky on Sunday. It's been a while since we've talked to Xander. Obviously, he's done a ton of media the last couple of days. Saw a video of him and friends imbibing out of the Wanamaker
Champagne,
Trophy.
actually.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, let's see if our theory holds water.
Celebrating, see how he's feeling today. Hopefully he's enjoyed it, though. Finally got the shed the label of best player to have not won a major, and now up to number 2 in the world golf rankings behind only Scotty Scheffler. So we will talk to Xander Schauffele at precisely, at least we're expecting, precisely 8:35 this morning. That means we will bump back our regular Jesse Agler Tuesday incorporator to 9 o'clock. Jesse didn't seem to have a problem with going a little bit later after what was a very long day, followed by a flight to Cincinnati yesterday. Getting an extra half an hour before he comes on a Tuesday was A-OK with Jesse.
Saw a great tweet yesterday from It's Johnny SD. He said, the Padres last 30 hours. Sunday, 7:10 p.m., Game 1 begins. Sunday, 10:03 p.m., Game 1 ends. Monday, 12:21 p.m., Game 2 begins. 3:04 p.m., Game 2 ends. Monday, 6:21 p.m., Game 3 begins. Monday, 8:39 p.m., Game 3 ends. Monday, 11:16 p.m., flight lifts off from Atlanta. 12:14 a.m., flight arrives in Cincinnati. That's a very busy 30 hours for a baseball team. So They've been under it and on it a little bit the last few days. The doubleheader has just got to sap everybody. And now with Xander being out, you're gonna have to make some moves and figure out who's gonna plug that hole, Benny. And I'll tell you, man, when he went down yesterday, I was super bummed. I really was. It hurt me to my core when I saw him go down and scream and wince in pain. I know he hasn't gotten off to the best start this season, but like you said, he's coming out of it. It was a hell of a play he made. It really was a hell of a play he made. And I like seeing my guys on the field. I really do. And it's a time for somebody else to step up. But I think Luis Arraez stepped up in game 2 and played a pretty interesting and good second base for the most part.
And a lot of sharp balls hit at him.
He really did. He really
in that
did.
game, and he acquitted himself very well. I mean, that's the position he's played more often than any other. So you certainly have a second baseman you can plug in there, but then you just have a designated hitter issue possibly as well. You get Manny off of his feet again,
but maybe
once or twice,
David Peralta, maybe that signing is.
And you've got Donovan Solano, although he's better against lefties. So we'll talk about it. The good news was the imaging done on Xander's shoulder after the game was negative, or during the game was negative, which means no visible damage, at least. That now, not every scan shows every possible bit of damage, so that's not a 100% clean bill of health. You're good to go. But the other good part that Mike Schultz said, he had some strength, range of motion.
Yeah.
Wasn't just completely like
separated
locked up or separated. They, so far, cross your fingers, so good. Don't know whether that means Xander is, out for a couple of days and they won't need to put him on the injured list. He could be back today. They may still need to put him on the IL. I think we'll get a lot more clarity when Mike Schultz speaks pregame today in Cincinnati before the opener to the 3-game series.
Well, listen, man, the one thing I was really happy about is it wasn't his wrist. At first when he dove, I went, oh my God, he rolled over on that wrist and he's done. He's done. He's had.
I wasn't sure it was the left or the right as he went down. I mean, both kind of hit the ground pretty hard.
But when Tatis came running, Tatis put his hands on his knees and put his head down. I mean, these guys know, they know.
Yeah.
Tatis had one play later in the game where he ran into the wall, and I'm looking at this going, get the hell out of here. Get out of Atlanta right now. Take your 3 or 4 and beat it and get on to Cincinnati. And that's exactly what they did.
Well, it was a series win. We will go back through the doubleheader, get you your Padres wrap-up, and talk about both games coming up, starting in our next segment. So don't go anywhere. More Ben and Woods coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Is that Boomer, Paulie, just doing updates on just stuff that he sees on Twitter?
I think so.
What was the thing? He just said...
That last one, the only reason I say that is it had nothing to do with anything currently really happening in sports. He listed the 15 NBA players by name, and then he goes, what do they all have in common? They're the top 15. They're the top 15 highest paid players in the NBA, but only one of them has made a Final Four. Rudy Gobert.
That's his update.
On Boomer Esiason. I'm like, who? What?
It's fun to just go through Twitter, and you can just read stuff that's on Twitter, and you don't have to, like, do any work. So I could, like, scroll my Twitter and be like, Woodsy, you got an update. Like, all right. A flawless resume and polished cover letter are critical for anyone looking to take the next step in their career. Put the finishing touches on yours with Quillbot's AI writing tools. I'm Stephen Woods, 97.3 The Fan.
Top 69 action movies, a thread.
Happy birthday to Mr. T, who turned 72 today.
The birthday bit's my favorite. My absolute favorite from
By the way,
him.
it is Mr. T's birthday, so.
Happy birthday to former Brave slugger David Justice. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Esiason? Yeah, he's in give up mode right now. It happens.
Happy 44th birthday to Gautier.
It's all deadly, my friends.
It's Judge Reinhold's
All right,
birthday.
Judge Reinhold's birthday?
It is Judge Reinhold's birthday.
Love Judge
Beverly Hills
Reinhold.
Cop, Judge Reinhold.
Hi, Brad.
Big E would have been 52 today.
Why are we doing birthdays?
I don't know. Well, it's because,
Because we're Boomer
unfortunately,
Esiason.
the rules of Padres Wrap-Up require us to play the highlights of the most recent game, apparently, which, of course, was not the good one. So we're kind of stalling because as soon as we get back from traffic, you're going to hear the Braves shutting out the Padres 3-0. We don't have to belabor that one so much, and we will get into some of the good highlights of the first game yesterday, which was much better. But our Padres wrap-up of the 3-0 loss in Game 2 of the doubleheader is coming up right after this check of traffic with Kelly on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Air Max, San Diego's highest-rated heating and air company. Visit them at airmax.com. Accident still clearing on northbound 805 at the eastbound King Freeway connector ramp. Our Cordell traffic cam shows a stalled motorhome westbound 78 past Mar Vista. Appears to be partially in that right lane. Looking for the best in HVAC? Choose Air Max, San Diego's highest-rated heating and air company with free diagnostics on all repairs and estimates. See why over 1,300 happy customers have given Air Max 5-star Yelp reviews. See Air Max today at airmax.com. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
Oh, a shame indeed.
It's a complete crap.
Oh, I did not like that.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
Are you kidding me?
Boo.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
It's not your fault.
Here's the 0-1. Albies lines it into left center field. That's down and a base hit. Profar's got to play it on a hop. Acuna will jog home. An RBI single for Ozzie Albies. And as they did in Game 1 this afternoon, the Braves strike first. It's 1-0. 1-2 is lined to left field. Profar charging, has to play it on a hop. That'll be an RBI single for Darno, as Ozuna now comes home to score the second Atlanta run of the night. Out of the wind, Vasquez delivers. That's hit hard in the air to deep left field. Oh boy. Profar just turns around to watch. It's going to go into the Padre bullpen, and Ozuna now has homered in both games of the doubleheader. The Brave lead is 3-0. Here's the pitch. Kim swings, bounces it out to shortstop. Arcia gobbles it up, throws to first in time, and the Braves avoid the sweep with a shutout win here in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Final score tonight, Atlanta 3 and the Padres nothing. Chris Sale kept him off balance. Randy Vasquez kept him in the game, but the Padres could not break through.
Yeah, we had good at-bats the whole series against some good pitching, and I thought Sale was really, really good. Changed speeds. The secondary stuff was really good. The fastball had a life to it. Everything was good. We had some at-bats today. Had a chance, grabbed the bag, swing away from tying it at the moment, but, he pitched really well.
All right, so, look, I saw some people upset about our lack of offense in Game 2. And I just wanted to read this for you about Chris Sale. This is from Nugget Chef. I'd like to try those. Chris Sale is on an epic heater. He's the third pitcher ever to have a 5-start span with 43-plus Ks, 2 or fewer walks, and no more than 2 runs allowed. The others both happened in 21, Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. So in the history of baseball, there are 3 people that have ever been on a heater like this. Chris Sale, also my fantasy starter. And so I've you look at your fantasy team and Chris Sale's pitching and you're like, oh, wow, 28 points. Oh, wow, 30 points. He is lights out. And he was lights out yesterday. And I watched him throw and I go, my God, he still has it. That thing where he's massively intimidating. The arm slot that he comes from is dirty. His changeup was filthy yesterday. His slider was disgusting, and can still hump it up there at 96, 97.
Why did the Red Sox gave him away?
I don't know.
For what, Vaughn Grissom?
I think so, man.
Why did they? I know he had a lot of injury problems.
He was injured. Yeah.
But that means you can always hope that once he gets healthy, he's going to be a great pitcher again. And they traded him right before. Apparently, he got healthy again, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Well,
but
the only thing I will say is that I don't know what Vaughn Grissom's going to turn into, if anything, but the Red Sox have really good pitching. But it's not like you couldn't use a guy like Chris Sale in every rotation. I mean, he is a true top-of-the-rotation guy again, later in his career. Now, I know we don't like to tip our caps here. I'm tipping my cap. It's Chris Sale. He's one I have no problem coming here and going, yeah, ran into a buzzsaw. None whatsoever. None, because I know we can beat guys like that. We beat Max Fried on Friday. It ended up coming back. Reynaldo Lopez did his job yesterday, certainly, and then some. But the Padres can beat pitchers like Chris Sale, but not when he's locked in like that right now.
that was how you do beat a pitcher like Chris Sale. You keep it somewhat close.
Yeah.
And then later in the game, you get some runners on, and you hope that you get the big hit, that it comes right there, the 3-run homer. You get the big swing, and you find a way to win that game. They had the tying runs on base. They had the tying run at the plate a couple of times late in the game. They weren't able to get the big hit. They lose that game. Similarly, when they took Shota Imanaga and, just waited him out, took the lead. They did not end up winning that game, but that's how you win against an ace usually. It's not, well, let's just, blow the doors off of this guy who's pitching great. No, it's try to keep it close. Try not to let the game get out of hand.
That's what
they
hopefully,
did. Win it against the bullpen late. And good job by Randy Vasquez. I know he gave up 10 hits. I know he was very hittable. It was not a dominating effort, but he gave him 6 innings. He gave up 3 runs. That's the definition of a quality start. He knew it was probably going to be his last one in the big leagues for a time, assuming he's going back down to AAA El Paso today when they activate Joe Musgrove off the injured list. And with the doubleheader, they needed him with some length, had his longest start of his career, went out there, kept the Padres in it against an ace pitcher at the top of his game. You can't ask more out of a 6th-spot starter than what Randy Vasquez gave to the Padres yesterday. He may not be a world beater, but that was a good effort by Randy Vasquez.
I'm not going to get up in arms about, when taking 3 of 4 from the Braves at their house, which, by the way, the Padres have absolutely owned them at Truist Park since 2018. So they feel really comfortable there for whatever reason. Fine.
I feel comfortable everywhere except.
Fair enough. They really are. We're going to put that to the test in Cincinnati again starting today. But no, it's a good point that you make, Paulie. Yeah, I really had no issue. How about Logan Gillespie coming in, getting called up, and coming in and getting huge outs, too, keeping the squad right in it. Crony had a chance to do something late, didn't come through. It's fine. It happens. Manny had a chance to do something late, didn't come through. It's fine. It happens. Chris Sale was spectacular yesterday. So I'm just not going to get upset about it, especially after how the first game ended. Yesterday was such a big fat bowl of gravy to me, the second game. Just a big trough.
We don't complain about series wins.
I do not complain about taking 3 of 4 from the Atlanta Braves. I just don't.
Yeah, and they take the series. It's their 5th series won in their past 6.
Yeah.
So, it's been consistent outside of the 3 games against the Rockies. It's been good, consistent play for nearly a month now.
The other thing, too, you guys felt it. I know you did. You felt it. You felt no, we absolutely are coming back. We are absolutely, they talk about, that's one of the messages that Schultz has preached. I know it's probably driven people crazy. Manny's preached it too in interviews. Keep giving yourselves opportunities to win the game, and you are going to win some of those games. It happened in game 1. It happened against the Dodgers. It happened a bunch. Hell, it even happened against the Rockies. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. They gave themselves plenty of opportunities in game 1 and game 2 to win. Game 3 was a turd, admittedly. And Mike Schill came on the air Friday and said, yeah, that sucked, essentially. That one he goes, I'm disappointed in. Game 1, game 2, you gave yourself opportunities to win the game. Last year's team, they don't even do that. There's no late rallies. There's no late push. There's no chance. They're not working
The
ABs.
general problem is obviously falling behind too often.
That's it. That's the thing. That's what's been killing them.
And you always point to starting pitching when that happens, and clearly it's been an issue. It's just the inconsistency. They've all had good starts, everybody in the Padres starting rotation. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, then they have a bad one. Yu Darvish is on a great roll right now. Dylan Cease was earlier, but even he, as he showed in game 1, is certainly not at the consistency level that the Padres would love to see from their starting rotation. And you're not going to get consistent great starts every single time from every single starting pitcher, but so far, it feels like there's been too many games where they're instantly facing 2-0, 3-0 deficits early in the game. And while they have come back on some of them and they've given themselves opportunities in most of them, you're still going to end up like Game 2 yesterday, losing a lot of those games when you fall behind early.
I mean, they're swing away. They're a swing away in the 8th. Swing away. They're absolutely a swing away in that game. So it's not there. They didn't roll over for anybody. I'm very encouraged by some of the things I see from this team.
The two real inexplicable stats right now for the San Diego Padres, and maybe it's simply because it's fairly early in the season, although they're 50 games in now, which is almost a third of the way through.
Brett Boone, you know what you are after 50 games.
The home road splits are very unusual. Going 10-16 at home, 6 games under 500, 15-9 on the road, 6 games above 500. You don't see teams with better road records than home records that often in Major League Baseball.
Give me some Higgins math here. If they just played 500 at home, what would their record be right now?
They would be 28-22, 6 games above 500, and solidly in the second wild card spot in the National League.
Damn, we are almost a third of the way through this bad boy.
The other, even more inexplicable stat, though, for your San Diego Padres, I calculated it yesterday. So they have played a total of 16 series so far this year. 8 of them have been against teams that currently have winning records. 8 of them have been against teams that currently have losing records. So you've played a real nice mix. You're 500, so you've played 8 teams that you should be better than, 8 teams that have been better than you. Against the 8 teams that have winning records, the Padres in those series have 6 series wins, 1 series loss, and 1 series tie. In the 8 series they have played against the teams with losing records, the teams that you should be beating, the Padres have 2 series wins, 4 series losses, and 2 series ties. They have been much better against the better teams in baseball and much worse against the worst teams in baseball so far this season. It's not just the Rockies, which is accounts for 2 of those, a split and, of course, the sweep loss last week. It's every single time now, teams that they have played better than, they play worse than, and teams that they have played worse than, they play better than. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It doesn't. And I think, you're going to hear, what you're going to hear, though, is, we played down to our competition. Okay. I mean, I guess the record would bear that out, yes. Like, the record says that that's what you do. So until you can flip it.
Stop doing that.
So, yeah, it's pretty simple, guys. Just stop doing that.
Simply stop doing it.
Simply stop. If I were them, I would simply stop losing to bad teams. It's just that easy, right? So I know it's not that simple. But, yeah, man, those are the kind of things that you lament, right? Those are the ones that you sit on the front porch and scratch your chin and go, if only. Son of a bitch. If
only they had. Now, that's the question. It's not the home road split. If only they had played 500
at
ball.
Home.
If they had just played 500 ball against the teams with losing records like the Cardinals, the Rockies, the Giants, the Reds, the Blue Jays, they'd be about 10 games above 500 at this point. Just 500 ball against the bad teams.
That's right. That's right.
They'd be cruising at this point, off to a fantastic start this year. All you'd have to be is mediocre against the worst teams. Now, you want to have a winning record against those teams. Those are the teams you're supposed to make hay against. You're supposed to have a winning record against those clubs. If you had just been 500, I think the Padres would be maybe 29-21 right now. If they had just played average, mediocre ball against the lower-level teams through the first 50 games.
And like I said, those are the things that I think make this fan base the most insane. And I count me right there along with you guys. I mean, there's no reason for that. I mean, you are better. You're better than these guys, and until you can flip that script, I think people will give you the label of you play down to your competition. And again, that's going to be put to the test this week against Cincinnati, and it'll be put to the test
team
again.
That has not been playing well. They've dropped to last place in the NL Central.
Yep.
You already did take 2 out of 3. It's one of the 2 series that you've won against a team with a current losing record. But can you do it again? You're on the road. You should be able to. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's a lot to think about with this team, and until you flip that narrative, man, that's what the narrative is going to be: is that you can't win home ball games and you can't beat bad teams. Those feel like a couple of things that should just be there, like that should be expected to be at least be 500 against bad teams. We're not asking for 750.
It'd be disappointing to be 500 against those teams.
It
That's
would
not
be.
good. 500 isn't good enough.
In a normal season, yeah, you'd be bummed if you finished 500 against bad teams. So, I mean,
and right now,
what's their record against bad teams?
They are 4 games under 500.
4 games under 500.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is where a nice sweep would really help you. For a lot of reasons.
It would. We'll see. All right, when we come back, I want to start talking about the early game. That was the exciting and fun one, the come-from-behind victory, the new setup man for your San Diego Padres as well. All coming up next year on 97.3 Fan. When we previewed yesterday's doubleheader, we knew the Atlanta Braves would have a significant advantage in Game 2 with Chris Sale on the mound against a sixth starter like Randy Vasquez. So we knew the Padres really had to target Game 1 as the one you want to make sure you get that first one. And it did not start well for your San Diego Padres yesterday. It was the kind of game that on social media, fans were kind of throwing in the towel fairly early on a long day.
I almost took a nap. I didn't, but I almost did.
It was understandable when you put your most dominant pitcher on the mound in Dylan Cease, and he gets roughed up for 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 home runs in 4 innings, and the team falls behind 5-0 against Reynaldo Lopez, who is dealing
nasty.
It just feels like, this is not going the way that we thought it was going to. This is maybe not the San Diego Padres day, and you're already thinking about, maybe they can find a way to beat Chris Sale in the second game and earn a split of this series, and you're just kind of hoping.
You kind of resigned yourself to the fact, knowing Sale was on the bump and Lopez pitching as well as he did and Cease pitching as poorly as he did. That perfect storm really led to you saying, man, a split, I guess we got to stick by it. Splitting in Atlanta is probably okay at the end of the day, but man, what a furious comeback.
And by the way, the Padres Mike Schilt will never admit it because his team, he's all about, grinding it out and grit and fight and going for it. When he put Logan Gillespie into the game, you mentioned it. This was in Game 1.
Unsung hero.
In relief of Dylan Cease. It was as close to a white flag as you can fly in a baseball game. Obviously, they didn't give up. No one ever really totally gives up in a baseball game. But when you're taking your 27th roster man, the guy who was only there for that day, wouldn't be in the big leagues otherwise, except for the doubleheader rule that allows you to have an extra player, is not a big league caliber pitcher. I know he's been up there, but at this moment, they consider him to be a AAA pitcher. When you put him in, and the Braves are already up 5-0, that's the white flag of surrender. That is saying we're going to save our better pitchers for Game 2.
Yep, let the chips fall where they may.
And try to win it there.
Yep.
And Mike Schilt would never say that, never admit that. But that's the thinking. That's the strategy that's going on. That's
you don't have to say it.
It's a very legitimate. It's a long season. You save some of your better chips for a better situation when you have a chance to win. Surprise, surprise. Logan Gillespie keeps it at 5-0. Padres get 1 in the 5th on a Jackson Merrill RBI groundout. They get 1 more in the 7th on a Jackson Merrill RBI single. Johnny Brito keeps it right there. So now it's a 3-run game going into the 8th inning. And the Padres put together a rally against the bullpen. And, once you walk the first hitter, and that was probably the cardinal sin that the Braves made in just getting the Padres going, and then a couple of hits strung together, didn't need a long fly. Jake Cronenworth comes through with a 2-run single.
2 strikes, too.
Yeah, that was a great at-bat.
Piece of hitting, man.
And then Manny Machado, the guy who has been slumping, the guy who has come up in a couple of clutch situations, has the opportunity, down 1 with 2 runners on, to do something big, and he did something big.
Pitch to Machado, line into left center. That's a base hit. Profar rounding third, going to score easily to tie the game. Cronenworth is being waved. He's on his way. He's going to score. Not only have they tied it, they've come all the way back to go in front, and the Padres now lead it 6-5. A 2-run double for Manny Machado.
Clutchado comes through with a big double.
That was huge. That was just a huge.
Clutchado.
I had my head in my hands. I mean, and when he hit it, I can't repeat the volume or the words that I screamed running around my house. It was just me and my wife at home yesterday. And I was so fired up for him because, he's been much maligned this year. And I think, for good reason. He has not swung the bat particularly well. And when he waved at that 0-1 slider, I went, oh, God, here you're about to get 2 more of those. Why that dude threw him a fastball in the zone, I will never know. But Manny absolutely tattooed it to the gap and get you
First pitch, too.
Yeah, the second pitch. Swung on a slider. And yeah, he pounded it in the gap. Needed it so badly. And it's just such a good A good reminder of what he's capable of when he's locked in, and he's gotten a few hits this series and whatnot. But we need him to be the Manny Machado of 2022, and it's nice to know that it's still in there a little bit. So, obviously, the glove never slumps. The glove is fantastic, and you saw it in the second game with other guys playing third base, with Solano dropping that ball in the tag, with Solano not being able to get to that ball down the line. The ball over his head that Manny probably catches, doesn't have to leave his feet. It's just what he brings with the glove often gets overlooked and taken for granted, even by me, his biggest fan. But when he can contribute with the bat like that, it was so clutch. It was so awesome.
So the Padres take the 6-5 lead with the 4-run top of the 8th inning. And a couple of things are true at this point. For the Atlanta Braves, they're now on the verge of an inexcusable loss.
100%.
I tweeted it. I said, if I'm a Braves fan, I'm irate at the team not adding on against Logan Gillespie, at letting the Padres stick around in this game and then come back against the bullpen. I am irate, but they still have 2 opportunities to win the game. And that's when Mike Shildt did something, either you could say unexpected, or if you've been paying attention, maybe you did expect it. And we're going to talk about that. First, though, I want to throw out the phone lines because we need a contestant for Take on Woods, which is like 3 minutes away. So if you want to call and get online for the chance to take on Woods for the trip to Las Vegas, 833-288-0973. Call us now, 833-288-0973. All right, what Mike Shildt did was put in Jeremiah Estrada to protect what now is just about the most important one-run lead you've had in a long time. You do not want to now give this game back after you have fought back, knowing you've got Chris Sale to contend with in Game 2 of the doubleheader. You have to lock down this win. That would be a crushing defeat at this point if you give up 2 runs in the 8th or 2 in the 9th. And with the game on the line, he goes with Jeremiah Estrada. The offseason pickup really wasn't talked about much, kind of one of those under-the-radar guys that was cast off from another organization that A.J. Preller saw something in and thought might have a place in the Padres bullpen. Well, he has been fantastic. He has an ERA now, I think, 0.77 after getting through the 8th inning yesterday. He's got some of the best stuff plus and movement on his 3 pitches that he throws, and he has been terrific. And apparently, obviously not every day, but he's the new setup man to Robert Suarez, at least for now, in the San Diego Padres bullpen.
Yeah, they asked Shildt about it after the game, and we'll play some of Schilt's post-game audio as well later in the show, I'm sure. But he said, yeah, I mean, he's earned it too. He said I like the matchups there for him. He said, but he's also earned it, which I like a lot. I feel a lot more confident with him in the 8th than Wandy Peralta. Nothing against Wandy. I just think Jeremiah Estrada's got better stuff. He's got more swing and miss stuff. And Wandy Peralta can get you a ground ball, and there's a lot of guys that's what they're good for.
He also gets you a lot of ground balls that go in the hole.
Correct.
For singles.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So
oh my gosh, I love this team.
Sometimes ground balls do find their way through to the outfield, but Jeremiah Estrada can absolutely go in and strike out the side. He's got the stuff to do it, so I love that move. And then, of course, Bobby Fastball's coming in, 7 pitches, game's over.
With some help from one of the best catches I've seen by an infielder this season.
No
we
question.
will have that highlight for you coming up a little bit later this hour. And when I say that highlight, I mean the Korean call of Ha-Sung Kim's over-the-shoulder catch in the 9th inning. But we'll just do a little tease on that one coming up in a bit. Right now, though, let's get to it. It is time to play Take on Woods. Now, we got a Steven v. Steven battle today in Take on Woods, which is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Steven, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. All right, you get a chance to beat or tie Woods and qualify for our grand prize 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Warrant, Lita Ford, and Paralandra on June 22nd. Unforgettable night of pure rock, Bliss on June 22nd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino featuring newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million in-room renovations, home of legendary Vegas fun. All right, to give you an advantage, Steven, I will let you pick the category. Here are your choices. We've got written by Prince. Those are five artists with hits that were actually written by Prince. In a word, Nirvana. Those are one-word Nirvana titles with trivia questions that go with them. And our final category is Say Cheese. It's a bit of a mystery category. I'll just leave it at Say Cheese. So, written by Prince, in a word, Nirvana, or Say Cheese. What would you like to play?
Written by Prince.
Written by Prince. All right, 5 questions, 60 seconds, trying to identify 5 artists with hits that were actually written by Prince. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll get to it if there's time left on the clock at the end. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie's going to play a bit of music. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. Steven, are you ready to play?
Okay, let's do this.
Paulie, you queued up? All right, Paulie's
Ready
good
to
to
go.
go. All right, 60 seconds on the clock, Steven. The category, written by Prince. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
It's been 7 hours and 50.
Nothing compared to you in the time.
Correct. In 1986, Prince set 2 recordings to which band that turned one of them, Manic Monday, into a signature hit?
The Bengals.
Correct. Which queen of funk became the first R&B artist to have a crossover hit with a rapper when she recorded a cover of Prince's I Feel For You in 1984?
Chaka Khan.
Correct. Stand Back was a 1985 solo hit for which raspy artist recorded the song with Prince's help after writing it while listening to Little Red Corvette?
Pass.
Which singer and drummer started collaborating with Prince at the start of her solo career in 1984, producing songs including her signature hit, The Glamour? Correct. Stand Back was a 1985 solo hit for which raspy artist who recorded the song with Prince's help after writing it while listening to Little Red Corvette?
Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks, and that is
Yeah.
a 5 for 5. Steven, you are in for the trip to Las Vegas grand prize drawing. Stay on the line. Paulie's going to get all your information during the break. The only question now is whether it is an outright win or a tie. Woods will not get the category, making it even that much more difficult. All right, Steven's score is locked in. It's pretty good. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Steven.
It's been
Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor.
Correct. In 1986, Prince sent 2 recordings to which band that turned one of them, Manic Monday, into a signature hit?
The Bengals.
Correct. Which queen of funk became the first R&B artist to have a crossover hit with a rapper when she recorded a cover of Prince's I Feel For You in 1984?
Chaka Khan.
Correct. Stand Back was a 1985 solo hit for which raspy artist who recorded the
Stevie
song?
Nicks.
Correct. Which singer and drummer started collaborating with Prince at the start of her solo career in
Sheila E.
Wow! A 5-5
Well done.
tie today. Steven and Steven both know their stuff.
Spent my entire weekend listening to Prince.
Yeah,
Literally all
written
of
by
it.
Prince was that category.
Yeah.
So you it's
That
been
was-
on the board for a few days. But
I was in a
you were well prepared for it.
Deep Prince rabbit hole. over the
Steven was
weekend.
as well. He is into
Good
the
rabbit hole to
drawing.
go down.
Yeah, it is.
And
Yeah, it is.
I had no idea that that Shaka Khan song was actually
Yeah.
a Prince song.
I feel for you. Such
Shaka
a
Khan.
jam.
Shaka
Shaka
Khan.
Khan. Shaka Khan,
Shaka
let
Khan.
me rock you. Let me move you, Shaka Khan. Let me rock you. It's all I want to
no
do,
idea
Shaka
on
Khan.
that one. Great job, both of you today.
Good job,
a
Steven.
well-played game of Take on Woods.
Whew. It was a toughie. Not really.
All right, Don't Do This is coming up next.
Oh, man. Former big league pitcher had a rough day yesterday.
Ooh.
I saw that
It
one.
was, it's like my second biggest fear as a parent that things like this will happen.
And maybe one of the cooler prom invitations you're going to see involving a big-time Major League
Promposal.
Baseball
A
star.
promposal.
That's what they call them.
Yes. This was unbelievable.
I have a lot of questions.
I have hours and reams of questions about how this happened. We'll play that audio for you as well.
It's coming up after a check of traffic with Kelly. More Ben and Woods on the way on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This, brought to you each morning by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. And we'll get started. I'll admit, I don't remember this guy in the big leagues.
I don't either.
Gnarly story, nonetheless.
Parents out there, be vigilant. Be as vigilant as you can possibly be. There are millions of creeps, and they're everywhere. And you don't want to scare your kids, but they have to be aware that there are people out like this. I mean, I follow a couple of Twitter pages that basically dedicate their lives to outing these predators of children. And I'll find myself doom scrolling it for hours and hyper vigilant to it with two kids. But former Boston Red Sox pitcher Austin Maddox was arrested in an underage search sting after he got caught trying to meet up with a 14-year-old girl. One of 28 people arrested in the sting in Florida was seen trying to enter a home. Police officers had set the trap. They were inside the door. There's video of it. They just come out and just tackle him, get him on the ground. Slapped with 4 felony counts, including traveling to meet after using a computer to solicit a child. Listen to this. After finding out the girl he thought he was messaging was 14, Maddox allegedly said, "That's young, baby. I get in trouble for that. You can't even drive. You going to stay with me all night?" He then agreed to meet up with the girl where he was arrested. They let him bond out. I don't know if he's out, but they gave him bail, $300,000 bond. It says he's being held, so maybe he's not out of jail yet. But you're done. You're done.
They have video of the sting pretty clearly.
Yeah, the sting is pretty. There's 6 cops that are waiting inside.
There's video outside of him approaching the door. And then there's video inside of the cops looking like basically a defensive line and linebackers
about to rush
the quarterback through the door, and they just take off as soon as the door opens. Guy has no idea what hit him.
I just try to tell my kids all the time, just trust no one. And if you're a parent and your kids are online and stuff, just got to be extra vigilant. I don't want to get on a soapbox or anything, but I would hate for that to happen to you or your kids or anything like that. So, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's so disturbing, dude. Throw them to the dogs, man. Seriously,
we don't need that guy around.
He doesn't need to be around. He doesn't need to be bonded out. Doesn't need, this is the time that he got caught. Was it his first time he ever attempted it? Who knows? But I watched it and it just makes my stomach churn when I see it. What an interesting job that would be, to be one of those police officers that has to see that every day. And while it's probably really fulfilling to get one of those guys off the street, it's got to mess with you, the sheer volume.
Oh, yeah.
There was 28 people in this sting. 28. Those are the ones they caught. Those are the ones that crossed the line. Think about how many out there, are going to attempt it or have already gotten away with it. And so just please be vigilant as you can be.
Let's see. This one isn't actually a sports story, and it's very sad. But other than the fact that athletes do a ton of travel through the air, did you see this Singapore Airlines flight? One person is dead. Several others are injured just after hitting severe turbulence during the flight from Singapore to London yesterday. It was a Boeing 777, had to be diverted to Bangkok for an emergency landing. They have not specified how many people were injured. Do you put your seatbelt on when they tell you?
Yes.
And you're just sitting there and everything seems as smooth as possible.
I always fear going to the bathroom and going, number one, and then we hit some turbulence. My head hits the ceiling and breaks my neck. I think
they didn't say how the person passed away, but you've got to imagine it's something like that a quick drop. And if you're not in your seatbelt or you're walking in the aisle at that moment, you just go flying and you could hit anything in that scenario. And it is fairly rare, but we've all been on flights with bad turbulence. It is
not fun,
that is
man.
gnarly. It is not fun to do that. And I saw that was a scary story. You just wonder, I mean, how many flights do you go on a year?
Yeah, a few.
1, 2, not
3, 4 maybe.
I guess round trips 3 or 4, but athletes like baseball team, you're on literally,
Constant.
what, 60 to 70 flights every single year, road trips, back.
It'd be the toughest part of the gig for me.
Yeah.
All that travel. It just grinds you down. You never really think about it, too. But, yeah, that is pretty gnarly. This is not gnarly. This is awesome. Paulie sent this over.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
So a young man in, I'm assuming, the Philadelphia area. Is that a safe assumption?
I would assume.
So this popped up on TikTok yesterday, and it's prom season. Your son, Graham, just went to prom the other night, Benjamin. And how did he ask his date?
I'm not sure, because my son is actually a freshman in college. His girlfriend is the one who was still a senior in high school.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know how it ended up.
Jersey.
Because it was her prom, not his prom.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So she probably asked him.
Jersey's Philadelphia.
Yeah, Jersey's
suburban
basically
Philadelphia.
Right. Jake Portello, he's a senior at Haddonfield Memorial High School, said he simply knocked on Bryce Harper's door and asked if he would help with his promposal. I knocked on his door. He seemed cool with it at first. Then he was like, "Can I get your email so we can plan this out?" And as I was leaving, he was like, "Why don't we do this right now?" So they went to this girl's house. They knock on the door, and this young woman, Julia, comes out.
Wait, Bryce went with?
Yes.
Like went with the kid.
Yes.
To her house.
Now, maybe
You know what? Let's just knock it out now.
Yeah, let's just do this
I
now.
I totally thought he made a video.
No.
No, dude.
For her.
He's there.
He's on her
On
doorstep.
her stoop.
He's actually there.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Hi, Julia. How's it going? Jake wants to actually prom, so I thought I'd help him out.
Yeah.
If you want to go to prom with him,
I'd love to.
Jake wants to ask you to prom, so I thought I'd help him out.
So you going to prom with him? Yes. Awesome. There you go.
There it is.
Gives her a hug.
Yeah, gives her a hug. She hugged
Doesn't give
Bryce.
Jake a hug.
She hugged Bryce before she hugged Jake. And then...
Okay.
Then she gives him a hug, and Dad comes
Dad's
out.
coming out. Wait, Bryce
Bryce
Harper's
Harper's
on my
here?
doorstep?
Says, I wasn't expecting this. I thought it'd be something cool among my friends and people in my town and stuff. I didn't even expect Harper to open the door in the first place. So their prom is June 14th, and Bryce Harper, what a good guy he is. Now, I've gotten some weird requests over the years from our audience and stuff. Our friend Stewie asked me to go down to Petco Park and get him a period, like a period that you would sew on a jersey.
A dot.
A dot.
Like Tatis Jr. period.
Yeah, and the jersey was missing the period after junior. And he said, "Hey, if you're down there, will you grab me a period?" And I said, No, I won't. I'm sorry. Does that make me a bad person?
No.
I didn't think so, but
But it does
instantly
make
I
Bryce
felt
Harper
bad.
a pretty awesome person to do this.
Now, if he said, "Hey, next time you go to Citizens Bank, will you go to the storeroom and grab me a period for my jersey?" Bryce would be like, "Why don't you go F yourself? How about that?"
This does open the door, though.
Oh, it does. Now, people are going to be knocking on his door.
Well, and I mean, Manny lives down the street.
Yeah.
It's going to be knocked. Don't be knocked. You can't just go knocking on famous people's doors and asking them for favors all the time.
That's
I'll
such
take it a step further. Don't knock on anyone's door.
That's a good point,
I
too,
think
Paul.
that's, if you know a famous person lives there, maybe you don't knock on the door. Look, it worked out cool, and Bryce was cool about it, but that could have gone sideways real fast. And that's actually kind of scary for Bryce Harper when some
Hi,
kid's
Bryce.
knocking on his
I'm
door.
Jake. I was wondering, could you help me with my prom proposal, and can I also show you the path to peace and enlightenment?
Yes, exactly. Also, can we talk about your bat path lately? Because that's been... You need more spine tilt.
Bryce going to have a security gate installed by the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I get it. Chris says the kids are all rich living in Bryce's neighborhood. Yeah, 100%. But it doesn't mean...
It's not any less annoying
It's not
when a
any
rich
less-
person knocks on your door.
Yeah, don't knock on anybody's door, ever. Unless they know you're coming. Don't drop in on anybody. Anyone.
I don't even like the guy that knocks on my door. Hey, we're installing solar panels in your neighborhood.
Yeah, Jeffrey says, so 2 stories about
If a
baseball
famous
players knocking
person,
on teenagers'
if a famous
doors.
person moves next door to you, do you invite them over for dinner, or do you
No.
just leave them alone?
Leave them alone. Say hi.
Like in the yard next door?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, how are you? I have a famous person that lives a few houses down from me.
Oh.
I see him, I wave.
I thought you were the famous person that lived a few houses down from people.
I can never quite reach the most famous in my neighborhood because of my
Someone
neighbor.
else.
Yeah. Sucks. Like my high school. Can't be the most famous person in my high school. Chip Gaines is from my high school. Post Malone went to my high school. So I'm way down the list.
That is Don't and Do This for Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, you thought the home run calls for Ha-Sung Kim and Korean were good. Wait until you hear the over-the-shoulder catch in the 9th inning of Game 1 yesterday. We'll have that audio for you and more. Coming up, don't forget Xander Schauffele an hour from now. PGA champion's going to be live with us here on Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
that feels good, doesn't it? Some of you can't hear that in the chat, so sorry. That's just a song.
For those who can, what are we listening to?
That's the Sacred Souls, the Sacred Souls from San Diego. The Sacred Souls.
Like Megan the Stallion?
Yes, like Megan the Stallion. Newly minted.
This hour of Bennett Woods is brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Get my camera set up here. We'll take a check of traffic and then come back. Want to play that Korean call of really a phenomenal catch by Ha-Sung Kim in the ninth inning yesterday.
So huge.
In game one.
Letting that, if that drops, a little bleeder off the bat, momentum goes, in their favor, be able to get the tying run, right?
Winning run on
first winning run at the plate.
Yeah, the tying run at first base.
Nobody out. Incredible.
We'll get to that right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. Well, we've got an unfortunate situation in the North County, a fatal accident northbound 15 before Deer Springs Road, overturned pickup truck over to the right shoulder, so you're going to see a lot of activity around that. That is northbound 15 before Deer Springs Road. Also, a collision on southbound 5 Coastline just past the Aliso Creek Rest area. A couple vehicles involved. That's in the center divide. Further down, an accident clearing near Encinitas Boulevard. Also traveling on westbound 78 near Center City Parkway, collision involving several vehicles there all over the right shoulder. Heading out of downtown, 163 northbound, the 11th Street on-ramp, there is a collision. Also eastbound King Freeway, just before the 125, vehicle went up the right shoulder embankment. Get a 4.78% APR auto loan at California Coast Credit Union with no payments for 90 days. Offer valid with CalCoast car buying service discount. Interest accrues immediately. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit calcoastcu.org. And Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
1-2 to Harris. 1 for 4 with an RBI single in the first inning. Pitch from Suarez, lined softly into shallow center. Kim racing back from short. Over the shoulder, slides and makes the catch. What a play by Ha-Sung Kim, and one down here in the bottom of the ninth inning.
What a terrific play by Ha-Sung Kim.
I really thought he had no chance of making that catch. Obviously, Jackson
just
Merrill
don't collide to each
other.
Yes,
just don't slam
wasn't
into each
going to get
other.
there from center field, so that was going to bloop in. Braves were going to have the lead runner on in a 6-5 game in the bottom of the ninth inning. Now, maybe Robert Suarez would have still come back and gotten everybody out like he's done most of the season, but it adds a high wire act element to a ninth inning that I did not need on my stress level in the game one of the doubleheader yesterday.
Over the shoulder, looking up kind of into the sun, hits the glove. You see him just secure it, hits the ground, pops up, and just is the most animated I think I've ever seen him.
Did it with style.
Looked beautiful.
Bouncing up into the air and just whoa!
And then Jackson screaming next. I mean, it was unbelievable.
And emotions were already heightened after the 6-run comeback, clearly.
God, that was great.
We've heard how excited the Korean play-by-play guys get when Ha-Sung Kim goes deep, even when it's already an 8-0 game. So I figured they must have gotten pretty crazy for the call of the catch yesterday, and Paulie has done his thing and acquired it for us.
걷어올린 타구입니다. 자, 김하성! 애매한 위치인데, 와! 김하성! 와! 김하성이 잡아내고 포효합니다.
이야, 이거는 정말 어마어마한 슈퍼 캐치. 오늘 앞선
Super catch.
Super catch. That works in any language.
That,
right there.
wow! That really was a super catch.
Feel like they're watching fireworks. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh.
They all do it at the same time, too, which is great.
걷어올린 타구입니다. 자, 김하성! 애매한 위치인데, 와! 김하성!
Really in sync.
Kim Ha-Sung.
Kim Ha-Sung. Because they do it the
super catch.
Last name first and then first name last.
Higgins Ben.
Woods
Steve. Reindl Paul. Jake had a really nice play on the next play. I mean, it was just like nothing they could do was going to get through at that point. And 7 pitches for Bobby fastballs, another save for him, a massive comeback win, picking up Dylan Cease, who was not great. He was not great. I did get a text from a friend that said, the Ben and Woods curse strikes again. And I said, listen to me, USOB. We did interview Dylan after his last start against the Rockies, and that would be pre his start against Atlanta. And I said, I beg to differ. Now, we gave you Darvish a T-shirt. He's chosen to wear it. He's been lights out. We gave Dylan Cease a T-shirt. I have not seen him in it yet. And, this is what can happen when things like when you maybe don't lean into it. So maybe if somebody wants to get that message to him, throw that on.
We're not making threats here. We're
No,
just
it's not a threat.
spitting facts.
I mean, if you want to go 7 shutout innings in your next start, okay.
Jackson Merrill wore his shirt.
Sure did. Boy, what a season he's having.
Pretty good start to the year.
So
It's probably a case of overthinking stuff, but there was a lot made of the Dylan Cease returning home to the Atlanta area.
Is
Had
he
a lot
from Atlanta?
Yeah, a lot of friends and
Why
family.
did I think he was from California?
At the game.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, or he lives there. He hosted players like at his house, I think.
I feel like you're just making stuff up.
Over
No,
the
I heard about
weekend.
the honey.
Yeah,
The
and
honey.
he brought honey in for everyone that his
He's
dad
from Milton, Georgia.
dad harvested.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit more sense. I missed the background.
I mean, it doesn't explain necessarily pitching bad. There's no rule that says just because you're home you have to be overhyped and pitch poorly. But I did hear Jesse even mention that in the first inning, maybe some extra adrenaline.
Yeah, extra nerves.
Not helping him get off to a great start. Atlanta, even though they actually have struggled offensively this week, and they actually have a really good and deep offense. They hit a ton of home runs. They set all kinds of records last year. It's a tough lineup to face, even if it's not clicking on all cylinders.
100%.
So you can't just simply go, well, Dylan was off his game.
Well,
Dylan
I mean,
was
three walks for him. He couldn't.
It's not totally. He walks 3 guys sometimes.
Yeah, he does.
you know.
But he couldn't locate.
Yeah.
The location was off. Just wasn't landing his pitches. And again, you could tell visibly frustrated. Probably, I would say, the most visibly frustrated that we've seen this year. And Ruben came out to try to calm him down. But, yeah, man, just listen, not a great day in the big leagues. His team picked him up, and that's incredible. And I know he's feeling phenomenal about that, that they were able to come in and get a bunch of runs and get him off the hook. Nobody wants to hold that L. Needing to be that stopper and that game that you feel like you should win. You roll your A team out there, and nobody wants to go out and give up 5 runs in 6 innings or whatever. And he was great. He pitched, he didn't pitch great, but it was great that the team was able to pick him up.
The upside of taking 3 of 4 from the Braves, of course, in a part of just winning another series, is that the Braves will come back to Petco Park in July. Padres only need to win one more time to clinch the season series again against the Atlanta Braves. Remember, they won the season series last year as well, but they already have the season series win over the Cubs because they're done with their games against the Cubs. Get one more win against the Braves. Those are the 2 teams right now that are first and second in the National League wild card race. Padres right now are in third with the 500 record, but that could change, over the course of the summer. You may be battling against those teams either for a playoff spot or playoff seeding, home field in the first round. To own the tiebreaker against both of those teams is a very valuable thing. So, circle those games in July. Padres, obviously you want to win the series, but you've got to take at least one of those to make sure that you've got the tiebreaker, because with the way the Phillies are playing, certainly looks like Atlanta might be playing for a wild card this year.
Yeah, man.
And not
That's
necessarily a
really
National League East title.
That's a really good point you make. I mean, these are big wins. They're big wins against this team on the road. Keep these guys on the road as long as we can. They have really played lights out. I wanted to ask you a question because I did see it pop up in the chat. I wasn't ignoring you. I believe it was Abraham when he asked earlier about Jackson Merrill sitting for Game 2. And I think I said last week on the roundtable, I want Jackson Merrill and Luis Ariz in the lineup at every opportunity that they can. Now, again, let's submit that we don't know everything that there is to know. Jackson Merrill did miss a couple of games.
I will accept your submission.
Thank you very much.
That we don't know everything.
Correct. And we don't know the logic or reasoning.
Paul, you second that as well? We
Yes.
don't know everything.
Other than he's a rookie and he's never played, they want to it seems counterproductive to say, well, yeah, he's a rookie. He's young. He can handle the grind of a long season, right? He can handle. But if you're going to sit him, you sit him against Chris Sale, even though I feel like he probably could have scratched out a couple of knocks because he gives you like the second best AB on the team. Maybe the first sometimes.
You do have to be fluid in your evaluation. At the start of the season, I remember Mike Schultz saying, yeah, we're not going to press him too much. He's, we already pressed him to be in the big leagues at age 20 to start the year, now 21 years old. we're not going to overly press him, overly tax him. We want to put him in good situations and not, put him against the toughest necessarily lefties, so he's going to struggle. That being said, you're right, Woods. He puts together good at-bats. Both sides of the mound, whoever he's facing, he's putting together good at-bats.
Basically sparked that comeback.
He certainly earned the opportunity to be in the lineup as often as possible. And while Luis Arraez has been in there every day since we talked about it, I don't think he has missed a game. Jackson did get another day off in the second game of a doubleheader. I do think that part of that factor, though, is that there's really no one else to sit. If you ever want to get your fourth outfielder into a game, if you want Sugar to play at all, you're not benching Tatis right now very often, and you're not benching Profar. Profar started every game. I think Tatis has he started every game as well?
Yeah.
You don't take those guys out of your lineup. So the only guy you can ever take out is probably Jackson Merrill. And the time you will take him out will be against a tough lefty because you've got the righty in Azokar who plays good defense, can play center field. So unless you're just planning on playing all three outfielders every single day of the season and letting Jose Azokar just rot forever, which, of course, is not something most managers want to do. They want to try to get a couple of at-bats every few games for their fourth outfielder, their bench guys, to keep them fresh for when they're going to need them at some point during the season. Merrill against a tough lefty is the logical place to give a guy a day off.
Okay, so it was when Jackson Merrill was 2 weeks into the big leagues. And now with his body of work, that's when I look at it and go, man, the body of work says to me that you've got to keep him in there. He needs to be in the lineup because he's a really good hitter. He really puts together good ABs. And I would hate, I guess, look, I don't run a big league club. I never have. But I do understand the concept of resting players. I do. I absolutely understand it. And we talked to Mike Schilt about the Padres being on somewhat the forefront of managing everything that they do. Now, maybe they looked at what Jackson Merrill did in game one, and maybe he was in the red, and they said he's had high-stress catches, he's done this, he's done that, he's had sprinted out a couple knocks, whatever. Perfect time against Chris Sale to give him a day off. I can absolutely go the other way. I can absolutely say that Jackson Merrill is young and his legs can handle it, and he can do this. Now, again, submitting that I don't know. Does he have a tweak in his groin? Is he still fighting through that? And playing 18 innings was not the best move for him yesterday. Yeah, that's obviously something that could happen. But I don't know everything. All I know is that we are a better team with him in the lineup than we are with Sugar in the lineup. Now, if you want to get Sugar some playing time, you could DH Profar if you wanted to. You could. There's a lot of things you can do. They have options on this team. I just getting ABs for Sugar is not my.
But if you DH Profar, assuming they're facing a lefty, and you DH Profar, Manny's probably playing third,
which he's done.
But that means someone else is going to have to sit, either Arraez or Bogarts. Now,
well, Xander's out potentially.
Now Xander's out, but until potentially being hurt, and we don't know that. He's day to day. He could be back right away. There's someone who has to sit.
Well, you could DH Merrill too. Yeah, I mean,
in most situations,
it just, for me, he gives you such a good AB. They're not using him like a platoon.
Fine.
It's not platoon.
The last point, though, and I'm not trying to take sides here, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've been playing Jackson Merrill pretty much 5 out of every 6 games. He's been doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden are you going to change the strategy that's been working so well for you?
But you're a 500 team. So
it's working for Jackson. It's not necessarily working for the team to take him out.
Again,
are you losing the games that he's not playing? I guess so, because you haven't done well against lefties.
Yeah.
And he has generally been out of the lineup against lefties. So maybe that is something to reevaluate then going forward.
Yeah, I mean, they have an idea of how he's best served. I don't. I'm just saying he gives you really 1 and 1A is him and Luis Arraez.
It's crazy how the Padres have struggled against lefties. Because usually, I mean, in the past, these guys have always mashed lefties.
Well, we said
Tatis,
it.
Machado, Bogarts.
They're all righties, for the most part.
They all mash lefties, and they're not. No one's doing it this year. Even Campy is not doing it. All right, we got 2 hours to go, including Xander Schauffele in our next hour here with Ben and Woods on the Fan.
All right, my friends, that's halfway home. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you so much for joining us, however you choose to consume us, whether it be on your radio, on YouTube. YouTube's been a lot of fun for people. They can see our faces, which that's not fun really for anyone, but they can see our reactions. They can see, like, if you fall asleep or something. Not that you have, but you could, Ben, right?
You can see my surprised reaction.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I was just surprised about? I looked it up. Megan the Stallion. It's pronounced the, not the. I thought it was pronounced the
it's spelled
Stallion.
T-H-E-E.
But it's pronounced, according to her Wikipedia page, Megan the Stallion.
Okay.
Didn't know that. Surprise!
I'm surprised, yeah.
I am surprised.
Look at that
by
surprised face. You
shocked.
Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
That's pretty much my reaction.
You can follow us on YouTube. Subscribe there, please. If you're so inclined, just hit subscribe. And that way you get it into your feed. You can watch us on the television. It's been good. It's been really good for this program for sure. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer, the creator of the YouTube scene that we have here at Ben and Woods now, and now all across the station and into our LA market as well. And then, a lot of competition in town using it as well. So thank you, Paulie, for being on the cutting edge there. And then Ben Higgins is your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. He joins us as well. Did you promote our next interview on television last night?
I did, right there in prime time, 6 o'clock news. That Xander Schauffele is going to be with us at 8:35 this morning, so stay tuned for that in just over 30 minutes. Oh, you better believe I'm excited to talk to a newly minted major champion.
Yeah.
Recently crowned, to talk about just the last 36 hours, what it's been like for Xander after finally shedding the label of best player to have never won a major. Now, he won, remember, the Olympic gold medal 4 years ago.
Not the same.
It's not the same, even though there's 16 majors for every one Olympic gold medal.
That's right.
In some ways, it's it's definitely more rare.
Yep.
And in some ways, you could argue it's more prestigious. But I think I know the mind enough of a golfer to say he'd rather have a major than an Olympic gold medal. Now he's got both. And pretty much cements his status among the greats of the game. He's number 2 in the world, and he's going to give us 10 minutes coming up here at the bottom of the hour. So looking forward to chatting with Xander Schauffele. Jesse Agler is going to be with us at 9 o'clock. They got into Cincinnati late last night after the doubleheader flight. Really long day, and no rest for the weary. Padres back at it this afternoon, 3:40. First pitch, 2:40 EcoWater SoCal pregame show. Padres and the Cincinnati Reds from the Great American Ballpark. Going to be Joe Musgrove coming off the injured list to make the start against Andrew Abbott in Game 1 of the series against the Reds.
Read that stat Craig just texted
All right,
you.
so yes, during the break, we were talking about Jackson Merrill's playing time and whether he should be there every day, even against the tough lefties. And Craig, I love the deep dive hour that they do on the Padres, 11 o'clock, and they get into some of the real interesting statistical nuggets. Craig's great at this, but he said one of the things they're going to talk about on the show today is that the Padres have lost their last 7 games when Jose Azocar gets more than one at-bat. So either gets a start or comes in early in the game for a defensive replacement like the day he did, took over for Jurickson Profar, and they ended up losing that one. It's just, that could be somewhat of a coincidence, but that's usually when he's in instead of Jackson Merrill, oftentimes against a tough lefty. Now, is it Jose Azocar's fault? Not really. It's the fault of Tatis and Machado and Bogarts for not mashing lefties the way they have traditionally mashed lefties. He may just be kind of the ancillary damage because he happens to be in those lineups and is also not doing anything. But I guarantee you, if Tatis was just slugging, 700 against lefties like he has done sometimes in the past, and Manny was crushing lefties, and Xander was, and even Campusano, I think I saw the stat that he was going into this year, he had a WRC plus of 162 against lefties. It's like 39 this year. Even though he's having a decent year, it's not coming against the lefties. No one other than Profar, who's insane against both sides of the plate, is doing against lefties what they used to do against lefties this year. And that includes now Jose Azocar, who has been in a bunch of losing lineups lately for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, I mean, we got guys in the chat. They're ripping on Higgy, and they're ripping on Azocar. These are not your problems. They're not your problems. Those guys, Higgy's going to be in there when Waldron pitches because he handles the knuckleball better than Campy. That being said, do you really feel the need to get Campusano in his 39 WRC plus against lefties? Do you need to get him in the lineup to face a lefty if he's not hitting lefties? No. I mean, he's not doing any better than Kyle Higashioka, really. And if one can, and I know balls get away from Higgy, it's a really tough pitch to catch. And if he feels comfortable or if they feel comfortable with him catching, it's not their fault. It's not Higgy's fault. It's not Azokar's fault. It's Manny and Xander and Tatis and the other guys that can hit left-handers. They're just not.
Higashioka was better as a backup with the Yankees
He was.
offensively. He produced more than he's done so far with the Padres. You know, other than that one home run, he really has not been good. And we've seen Campusano's playing time go up a little bit more lately. There's been a couple of series where he hasn't even gotten one day off. He's just been behind the plate every single day. But he's going to wear out if you keep using him at that rate as well. So you have to keep, if you're Mike Schilt, you keep that in mind. Like, I can't put so much on Campusano in the first 4 months of the season that he's got nothing left in August and September. So it's a bit of a dilemma that the Padres have not gotten production from their backup catcher either.
No, Williams says, are we concerned about Tatis? Don't hate me. Yes, of course. Of course. I mean, I'm concerned about the big three, all of them. And now one of the big three is potentially out for, we don't know how long, so I don't want to speculate. But now that he's out, this is where Manny and Tatis need to step up. And again, especially against left-handers, man. Kevin says that Brett Sullivan, he actually said Brian Sullivan. It's Brett Sullivan, and Brett Sullivan is not the solution to hitting big league pitching either. I like Sully a lot, but I just don't know that he is immediately an upgrade defensively or offensively over Kyle Higashioka. And
we're
again,
kind of nitpicking
and
here,
we're
talking about the
nitpicking.
backup catcher.
We're talking about a backup catcher here. Again, if the right-handers that get paid a lot of money in this lineup do what they're supposed to do against lefties, we're good. Kyle Higashioka's at bat does not matter. Sugar's at bat does not matter. They're good for a sac fly, they're good for a sac bunt, whatever. They don't matter. Manny, Toddy, Xander, those guys, Donovan Solano, all those guys. Those guys need to come in and mash left-handed hitting. They really, or left-handed pitching. They really do. And that's really what it falls down to. So Kyle Higashioka is not the reason, and Sugar is not the reason that they're, 500 baseball team right now. So, let's point the blame where it belongs on the guys that make the most money.
We've spent 5 minutes talking about the backup catcher spot. That's 4.5 minutes more than it was probably worth.
Yeah, if you want to, people asking the reason, why is this team 500 when it feels like they're so much better than last year's team, which was also around 500 at this point? Why does this year's team feel like they're a better team, yet they don't have a better record? And that's it right there. Production against left-handed pitching. That was something that last year's team, with all their flaws, did incredibly well. This year's team has not done it, and it has cost them many times now against left-handed starters that they just can't get any offense going.
Yeah, and as far as Sugar goes, I mean, getting him ABs and stuff should not be a real priority. One game a week, okay, sure, yeah, get him a couple looks or whatever, pick your spots, but making sure he gets 2-3 games a week doesn't make sense to me.
He's usually getting one. It was a doubleheader.
1 to 2.
It was a doubleheader yesterday. You expect to use all of your players
absolutely.
in a doubleheader.
You got to, especially when you get the win in game one. That's a perfect time for him to start yesterday. Perfect. Now, here's your assignment. You get Chris Sale. Go have fun. Here's your 4 ABs against him. But, yeah, I'm not too worried about those guys. They're doing what they're supposed to really be doing right now. And that's for Higgy, it's catching the knuckleball, right? Catching Waldron starts, who, by the way, Matt Waldron has been fantastic lately. Kyle Higashioka deserves some credit for that, certainly, because you always got to give credit to the catcher as well. And Sugar is a defensive replacement that, gets a few ABs, and he's playing good defense. I mean, it's really all you can ask of them.
And I think maybe we're downplaying how difficult the assignment that the Padres are giving Kyle Higashioka. You get to play once every 5 days, and when you go in, you are going to catch the person who is literally the hardest person to catch.
Correct.
In all of baseball. The only guy with a knuckleballer. But, by the way, because he also throws, fastballs and sweepers and stuff, you can't use one of those special knuckleball mitts that are really big and soft that help people. You have to use a regular mitt because otherwise it's going to destroy your hand to catch his fastball in one of those knuckleball mitts. So we're going to give you the most difficult assignment that maybe any catcher has ever gotten. It's your only chance to play. You're probably going up against a tough pitcher as well at the plate. Kyle Higashioka has been put in a really tough spot to succeed by the San Diego Padres. They know that. Hopefully,
he knows that.
He knows that. Hopefully the fans can at least understand that Kyle Higashioka is not given a chance to thrive so far here in San Diego.
No, and hey, nor really should he be. I mean, that's why you have Campusano, and Campy should get the lion's share of everything. And he needs to start mashing lefties as well, period, the end. So it's a great point that you make. It's still an interesting number that Craig brought up. There were, 7 straight games with him in the lineup, getting more than one AB. Yeah, I'm not going to put it all on him, though, certainly.
So back to the record. The Padres are 25-25 through 50 games. I want you guys to put on your prognostication glasses here. If you could fast forward to the end of the season. Like, I'm looking back at last year. I learned my lesson. I don't know about you guys. I'm not pulling the, it's only 50 games in. It's still got 112. Like, it's still early. We've heard it from guys like Brett Boone. We've heard other people in the game say, yeah, about a third of the way through, that's when you know who this team is. They have told you who this team is, and we fell for that trap last year. They told us who they were last year pretty early on. We chose not to believe it until, late August, and it was too late. Are they a 500 team this year? Are they going to end up better? Are they going to be worse? Like, the numbers say this is who they are. But it doesn't feel like this is who they are.
No, it feels
it's a
like
very weird team.
We've had comebacks and stuff, but it does feel like they're better. It does feel like they're better. I would probably take the over 81 wins right now.
Yeah, I see what Paul's saying. I mean, we got our salmon-colored shirts and rose-colored glasses on and want to think the best of the San Diego Padres. But there's also some warning signs that tell us the opposite, that they won't be that good late in the season. If they don't get production out of Manny and Tatis, at some point, Jurickson Profar is going to cool off. Yeah. He's not going to keep hitting the way he's hitting. And if you don't get some consistent production out of your stars, they're going to fall off a cliff at some point and go the other direction.
Like, we can't get here on August 20th and just be like, hey, you know what? Just wait for Tatis to turn it around and, things will start clicking. Like, he hasn't clicked for 5 months. It's probably just a bad year for him. And I'm just using him as an example, but I learned my lesson last year. Like, if they're telling you, if a team tells you who they are after 50 or 60 games, I'm just curious, like, is this who this team is? They're just going to win 3, lose 2, win 1, lose 2.
I mean, again, the fact that they're beating good teams tells me a lot more than last year told me. A lot more. They're beating good teams, and that's when you can kind of look at the positive side of it and go, great, let's play better against crap teams. Great, let's play better at home. I don't know the recipe for that, playing better at home. It doesn't make sense logically. Why a jam-packed Petco Park with people going ape-ass every night, you walk out there, you're like, ugh, we don't like this. You live for it.
You should play better at home, but you also probably won't play as well on the road going forward. I mean, there's a lot of counter signs for these San Diego Padres. You probably have more players that should be better than they are right now. Not just Tatis and Manny and Bogarts, but Kim as well. I mean, the numbers that they have put up in the past would indicate they have many guys who at least have the opportunity to do a lot better than they've done so far. Profar is your main example of a guy who you probably expect to level off. Maybe he won't. Jake's off to a good start. I think Jake is going to keep that up.
I don't see. There's no reason why both of them can't. There's really not.
Profar, the 338 average.
Yeah, he's not going to hit. I submit there's probably not a player in baseball that's going to hit 338 this year.
That's not a knock on Jurickson Profar. That's a knock on. When you're that hot, everybody cools off from that level.
But I don't get the sense. I haven't looked, so I don't want to speak out of my ass. But I don't also get the sense that he's gotten incredibly lucky a lot either. He's barreling baseballs. He's giving you really good ABs.
No, he's not.
And that can change. That can stay the same. You can continue to give good ABs. The results may not be there, but he gives you a good at-bat every time, just like Jackson Merrill does as well. Hence how this whole thing started would just love to see him play as much as he can because he gives you a better chance to win.
All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. We'll come back. The story has been told now officially by Buster Olney on ESPN.com this morning. Josh Hader and the usage rules that were absolutely in place and tied the hands behind the back of Bob Melvin and the Milwaukee Brewers before that on how he was and was not allowed to use his closer. The story has been told. Give you some of those crazy details coming up next with Bennett Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Usually Jesse Agler joins us at 8:35, but because Xander Schauffele is going to be with us in our next segment, we are going to wait until 9 o'clock to talk to Jesse. But if you want to put some suggestions for our incorporator word into the chat or to tweet us at Ben and Woods, you can do so. Jesse successfully incorporating weird vocabulary words into Tuesday night Padres baseball broadcasts. Want to keep this quick because I want to make sure we have enough time for Xander to call in at 8:35. But I saw this from Buster Olney this morning.
Oh.
Did you see this, Woods?
Must be why I missed it. I am blocked by Buster Olney.
Yes, he did tweet it out, so you probably missed it entirely.
Missed the
whole thing. Now
fill me in.
Why would he block you? You wouldn't have said anything
I have
mean
no
to
idea.
Buster Olney.
I'm a sweet, sweet angel.
We had heard and we've talked about the story of Josh Hader at the Milwaukee Brewers and going to arbitration. The Brewers using his minimal number of saves in his first couple of seasons against him.
After they are the ones that deployed him.
Yes, that they chose how to deploy him. He was very effective however he was deployed, but because he didn't have a certain number of saves, he ended up losing his arbitration hearing and ticked him and his agent off. And they came up with, and Buster finally has revealed, like the specific rules that they presented to Milwaukee general manager Jeff Stearns after the lost arbitration hearing. And how. So here were the rules. 3 rules, the Hader rules. He would not pitch more than 2 days in a row. He would not pitch more than 3 outs. He would only pitch in a save situation or when the score was tied. And that's what they presented to David Stearns. And David Stearns initially thought, you can't tell us how we can or can't use our player that we're paying. But then they realized, well, I mean, what's our recourse? Suspend him and create a giant scene with one of our best players, or just accept,
call his bluff?
What he is? Well, they didn't
warm him up in the 8th inning and see what is he going to do? Not stand up off the.
They did not. They decided Craig Counsell and Stearns played along,
played nice,
played by the Hader rules, and apparently when he went to the Padres, feels like the rules were still basically in place for Bob Melvin, who was handcuffed with a closer that could only be used in very specific circumstances, no more than 2 days in a row, no more than 3 outs at a time, and only when it's a save situation or a tie game late.
I mean, somebody said in the chat, I don't blame Josh Hader for taking this stance. I really don't either against Milwaukee.
Yes.
Against Milwaukee.
Yes.
It would be like you putting your new girlfriend through hell because your old girlfriend put you through hell. Does that make sense? Like you're going to hold what your old girlfriend did to you over, which happens. It's human nature, I think, to be like, no, I've been hurt before. I get that.
It's a defense mechanism.
It's a defense mechanism. But you came here, you had opportunities, again, to really, really excel. I mean, they were a good team when he got here, and they ended up going on a run and everything else. And he probably got the 3 biggest outs in Padres history, recent history, that we've ever seen, in the last 25 years, right? So
lucky he hadn't pitched the previous 2 days, apparently.
Luckily, the game was not tied, right? So I fully understand that.
Last year's what killed it.
But I think last year, man, when you came this close after a run, a pressureless run at the end, you look back to some of the Hader rules and you go, son of a gun, man. I feel like there's a handful of games there that you refused to pitch in that we absolutely could have used you, and that sucks. And look,
we talked about it yesterday. Suarez pitching in the 8th on Friday.
Yeah,
great move by Schilt.
Instead of saying
and then Estrada getting the close. You hear Schilt after the game?
Yes.
We got a commander man, Suarez. What a good teammate. Not everybody would say, yeah, I'll take the 8th when you're the closer.
And
but
that's what it's about.
Went out and grabbed the 8th.
That would have been against the rules. That was not a save situation there in the 8th inning.
Yep, and
then,
it
wouldn't have been more than 3 outs.
And the comments too were just horrific. You guys expect me to do everything, and it's like, no, not really, not everything. We just really expect you to get outs when called upon. And I do understand. I do understand wanting to protect your arm and protect your future, and that's fine. I guess he's entitled to that, but he's going to have that reputation now for the rest of his life. And
well, he's got his deal with the Astros.
Yeah,
apparently, the rules have been lifted now that he's got his contract. So he'll do what they need him to do.
He's been really good lately.
Had more than a 3-out save his last appearance, I think, for the Houston Astros.
Yeah, he's been really good.
We're going to take the time out. When we come back, Xander Schauffele, fresh off his PGA Championship victory, will join Ben Woods next on 97.3 The Fan. Let's get right to it, Woods. I was glued to my television on Sunday, and I was nervous for our next guest.
Me too,
He didn't look nervous, but I certainly was. Having to get up and down on 17 for a par and then on 18 for the birdie to secure his first major championship. We are joined right now by PGA champion Xander Schauffele here on Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Xander, congratulations from all of us. That was fantastic stuff on Sunday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
I mean, the emotions of finally, obviously, getting so close so many times and getting over the hump. I was talking to Woods earlier. You have the Olympic gold medal. I mean, there's 16 majors for every one Olympic gold medal. So in some ways, that's even more special. But for you, for a professional golfer, can you compare actually winning a major to the gold medal title?
I mean, what a tough comparison that is. They mean equally a ton to me. Different though, you know, the Olympic gold medal felt like it was something that it's like the coolest thing I could possibly deliver for my dad, who's obviously been my mentor and someone I'm really close with. And then the major is the same in that sense, but something that, you know, growing up, I mean, the Olympics wasn't really a sport in golf, or golf wasn't a sport in the Olympics. So growing up, I mean, you saw Tiger, you know, hoisting all these trophies, Jack hoisting all these trophies. They're all major championship trophies. So as a kid, when I was really little, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I dreamt of.
Talking to Xander Schauffele here on Ben & Woods this morning. You mentioned your dad. That's exactly where I was going to go. I'm a father of two young boys, both love sports. My oldest one is such a competitive person. I find myself lying in bed at night going, all right, was I too hard on him? Am I too easy on him? It's the needle that you have to thread. Not expecting anybody to become a professional athlete, but when you talk about your dad, I know you guys are close. I broke down in tears when you were talking about your dad breaking down in tears. How, when you look back, when you were a kid, how hard did he push you, and did he pick his spots on when to push you?
Yeah, it's a great question. He was, I think that more than anything else, he was really fair. He ingrained this sort of from a young age. I mean, he really made it like he would always ask so many leading questions, and you know, we'd have conversations and so many conversations, and we'd talk through so many different things. And when he'd give me advice, whether it was easy or tough. And then, you know, whenever, as a kid, it's so easy to have a really important conversation, feel good, and then, you know, a couple days go by, and then, you know, you do something stupid again. So he was quickly to remind me of something that I would promise him or a promise that I made to myself. And so there's a certain amount of accountability that he sort of ingrained into my brain. And so, you know, those days where I wasn't practicing, he didn't have to sit there and hound me about not practicing. He would just kind of look at me and ask me, did you practice today? And it was like enough to make me feel this like overwhelming sense of like, I just let myself down. I let him down. I pretty much said I was going to do something. I didn't do it. So as a kid, you know, that's kind of the stuff that I remember. And it's such a fine line, obviously, of riding that. And you know, he did a really good job, and you know, I'm really appreciative of him sort of instilling that in me.
And so, as you've played this brilliant career, Xander, in the PJ, but haven't been able to get over the hump until now, major-wise, how much did you and he talk about that? You know, you're a very established golfer. You made a lot of money. You know, you won tournaments, et cetera, et cetera. Getting over that hump, how instrumental was he in helping you even now?
Yeah, it felt like nothing really changed. Obviously, this is very helpful for my career and everything that I've done, but nothing's really changed in terms of the advice he was giving me along the way. He was, the same sayings were said, you know, the same
his shtick.
German,
oh yeah, dad's shtick.
Philosophical stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it never the cadence of it never really increased. You know, we would return to some things that he used to say, but it was never like in a dramatic fashion or anything. You know, he texted me one of his favorites, you know, steady Kip Draves the Stone. He texted that to me on Saturday. And, you know, every time I lost for like the last 2 years, I've had a lot of close calls. You know, we would discuss sort of what happened, but whether I beat myself, I let myself get beat, or someone beat me, you know, there's different ways to lose and win. And, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like we just stayed the course. You know, he felt like we were on a good plan, and we just believed it, and here we are.
You know, in sports, you want to beat your opponents, but in golf, I want to beat my friends. I think that's more fun in golf. You want to beat your friends. Any trash talk? You get your first major before your buddy Patrick Cantlay, your Ryder Cup teammate. Any trash talk going back and forth now that you have one?
No, it's all love. It's all love there. You know, I'm sure he's more motivated now than ever to go and get himself one, and he's in the same boat. We all know he's going to win one. It's just a matter of when. So, we're always rooting for each other, and obviously when we're out on the grass, it's straight competition, but it's all love.
Talking to Xander Schauffele, PGA champion, and the one thing that every major winner wants more than anything else, a second major, maybe one of the other ones, maybe the U.S. Open next month. And I wanted to ask you, I don't know, it's at Pinehurst number 2. They haven't had it since 2014. So do you have much experience there? I got to play there last year. I think your putting, the distance putting is going to really come in useful there on those big humpbacked Donald Ross greens. What do you think about the next venue and your chances in the U.S. Open next month?
Yeah, I mean, you have more experience than I have as Pinehurst. I've never been.
All right, we'll
go
go through notes.
Please don't ask him, Xander.
We'll go hole by hole. I'm really good.
Xander,
I've got a good memory for it.
He is going to wear you out. I'm so sorry. Tell him.
I think you're my favorite already now for the U.S. Open next month. You're going to dominate. You're going to dominate with the shot making and the putting that you've got. That course is going to be perfect for you.
Xander, I'm telling you right now, we're watching on Sunday. Both my kids are with me. My wife. We're all there and we're watching. And you hit the chip, which I was laughing, going, I would have sculled this thing way over the hole, and you chili dipped it. You stick it to 6-8 feet, and Did you feel the entire city of San Diego and the pressure of San Diego, just being San Diego and San Diego sports? Did you feel any of that? I mean, I know in the moment you're worried about making a putt, but you really lifted a city with that putt. I'm not kidding. I mean, that's what everyone was saying. Oh, here we go again, second place, San Diego, and to be able to win it, man, it was so special.
So special. Hey, I've been a Chargers fan growing up my whole life, so I know what you're referring to. In the moment, no, I wasn't thinking of anything but myself, and I was so nervous. My hands were a little shaky. But I felt good. I felt good over the putt. I knew it was a high percentage putt for me to make, and looking through film, it looked like I didn't rush through it, but I really didn't want to take too much more time on it because I was seeing a few different things, and I really wanted to be just concise and give it just a full commitment. And so the more I would wait, I felt like I was just not going to commit to it. So, the end result of me and everyone that in San Diego, I've gotten so many texts and so many people reaching out, which has been so awesome. I have so many texts to respond to still, and I feel a lot of love coming my way, and I'm definitely looking forward to. I got 2 weeks here in Florida, and then I have 3 weeks on the road, and then I'll be back in San Diego for a couple weeks. So I'm definitely really excited to bring this Wanamaker Trophy back to my hometown to celebrate with some people there.
Well, Xander, we really appreciate it. I know we always put ourselves in your shoes, like when you're trying to make a 6-foot putt, and there's no real comparison. The only similarity is we're all Callaway golfers.
Yes,
Team
Callaway.
Our Ben and Woods Open Chrome Tour sponsored coming up next month at Goat Hill Park, which you've been a huge supporter of Goat Hill Park as well, which we appreciate here in San Diego, everything you've done. But so excited for you. Glad you got that major. Now it's time to get the next one and the next one, and we'll be rooting for you when you tee it up next month at Pinehurst in the U.S. Open. Xander, thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks. I'll hit you up for some notes, all right?
Oh, God.
Please do.
No. Oh,
please
boy.
do. Make sure you get it all the way to the hole on 13. You do not want that ball rolling back down the hill. I made an 8. It was not good. It destroyed my round. I was playing pretty well. I was like 6 over and then made an 8 there on 13.
Have you done?
It's
what
awful.
have you done, Xander? What have you done? Appreciate it, man.
Take care, Xander.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Xander Schauffele, PGA Championship winner, and we will go over our notes for Pinehurst number 2 coming up shortly.
So here's what you do. He grew up playing with Steve Sugimoto's older brother. Steve Sugimoto was our NIL-sponsored athlete at San Diego State, and he's now a professional golfer in Japan, going through some hand injury. He can't play. He's losing his mind. I was tweeting with him the other day to keep his head up, just a blip on the radar. Send your notes to Steve, who can get them to Xander. I'm not kidding. Why not?
I'll throw him down there. I've got some thoughts for sure on the course.
No doubt.
We didn't offer him the $100 we offered to Steve to put his our logo on his bag, maybe next to his Callaway, get a Ben and Woods logo on the bag going.
Probably gonna need more than a hundo, I would guess.
Maybe we sponsor his caddy, Austin.
Fine by me. But no, what a great dude. I love the insight there, too. It's really good.
It's good stuff about his dad, too.
I need more dad shtick.
Good questions there, Woods, on how he motivated the old... No, I'm not disappointed. I mean, maybe you're disappointed in yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you said you were going to practice. So. But not wearing them out about it, too, is interesting, Hannah. So, yeah, it's really, really helpful stuff, I think, for a lot of dads out there. That was great.
If you want to support the same causes that Xander Schauffele supports, North County Junior Golf Association, the Caddy Academy at Goat Hill Park, you can do so by signing up for the Callaway Chrome Tour Ben & Woods Open coming up on June 19th. Paulie's got all the information on our social channels in our feed. You can sign up. It's 2 shotguns. We got a morning wave, an afternoon wave, food, drinks, prizes, fun and games, and hang out with the Tier 1 community. It's the 3rd annual-ish Chrome Tour Ben & Woods Open coming up June 19th at Goat Hill Park, where Xander does every year the Wishbone Brawl to raise money. He's played every single one of them. Comes back to his hometown. Really good supporting San Diego and some of the causes in San Diego, even if he can't give up the Chargers. Fine, whatever.
I remember going out there to the Wishbone and seeing the gold medal. I mean, he had it. He brought it out. It was. I think I held it actually. Yeah. It was pretty incredible. He's such a great dude, and yeah, man. I mean, I felt that. I know a lot of people. I didn't grow up here, but I know, and I've been here long enough to know that. Oh God, second place after lipping out an 8-footer that you can make, no problem.
I mean, that could have easily
it tried to get out.
Yeah,
it tried to get out.
It's a 50-50 proposition when it hits the edge of the hole like that. And you know, he said, I didn't want to have to go to a playoff against Bryson because he said, I think we would have gone back to 18. Technically, it was a 3-hole playoff. It would have been 13, 17, and 18. That little island green par 4, and then they come back around 17 and 18. But he would have had to go up against Bryson, his huge length on the par 5. And he said, I wanted to win it right there and not have to go to that playoff
100%.
Against Bryson DeChambeau. Of course, well, yeah, you never want.
Bryson was feeling it too. I mean, Bryson had a
he was
round
warming
of his
up.
life.
He was getting ready for the playoff.
Loved him coming over too after. And I tweeted this the other day: is Bryson more likable now than he used to be? I think the answer is unequivocally yes.
You know why?
Why?
Less Bryson.
Less Bryson.
The less you see him, the more you like him.
That's true. That's a really good point. He was massively likable in that tournament.
Yes, he was.
He really was.
He had the crowd behind him, too.
And then him walking up to Xander after Xander's off the green and giving him a hug was pretty cool.
Not to get into the weeds, but golf would be better with more Bryson, though. More Brooks, more Bryson, more of them all together.
Well, those majors show you what we're missing.
Yeah,
they show you what we're missing.
This should be happening 15 times a year, not 4 times a year that we get to see these guys playing together. I won't get into the Live PGA Tour weeds. We got to check traffic. We will continue, though. Don't go anywhere. More Ben & Woods coming up here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Fish Market, serving the freshest catches from waters near, far, and everywhere in between. Got a fatal collision in the North County, northbound 15 before Deer Springs Road. Overturned pickup truck over the right shoulder. Emergency crews got that right lane blocked. This is causing you some slowing in both directions of the 15. Also, a stalled vehicle on the Rancho Santa Fe off-ramp, westbound 78. Got an accident on eastbound King Freeway at the south on 125 connector ramp. Vehicle went off the roadway, hit a tree. Crash still in the clearing stage on the Bonita on-ramp to northbound 805. Further north on the 805, Cordell and Cordell traffic cam sees this collision just before Imperial. Couple cars involved there over the right shoulder. Before, after the game, or when they're on the road, join the Fish Market's downtown location for happy hour every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Enjoy $2 shuck oysters, appetizer specials, $8 margaritas, and more. The Fish Market's downtown happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So it's funny to me that Xander said that you have more experience at that course than he does.
Well, they haven't played the U.S. Open since 2014. He wasn't in that one, so it's not like a regular spot on the PGA Tour.
And hasn't.
It's not near anywhere where you'd just like, oh, I'm happy to be in Pinehurst, North Carolina today. I guess I'll tee it up on number 2. So,
wouldn't that be a trip that a golfer would make?
Well, I think the reason he's probably in Florida, he's probably going to hit it a couple of times here and get some prep going for the U.S. Open so he gets to see the course beforehand. But yeah, I mean, it's a place a lot of the guys will be playing for the first time since it's been a decade since they've hosted a U.S. Open there.
So when you go into a golf course like that cold, I bet you some notes would help him. Really?
I think it would. I mean, his caddy will go through every inch of the place and have notes on everything before they tee it up. But it's always easier to play a course you played a few times before.
You've done it for me at Goat Hill.
Just get the sense for, where things might bounce, where it's safe to play, where it's not safe to play. I do think he'll do well, though. Those greens, you have to be precise. If you putt it a couple of feet short, it could roll back down a hill. A couple of feet long, it can roll over a hill. His control, I mean, you saw those long putts. He had a 50-foot putt. He hit it 51 feet.
Yeah.
He was on top of things during the PGA Championship there. The one thing I didn't get to ask him, if we had more time, how crazy that Friday was with Scotty Scheffler going to jail and just everything surrounding the story of that PGA Championship. It seems like Scotty is going to get the charges maybe dropped. They already pushed back his arraignment until June 3rd.
Why did they do that? Just drop the charges.
There's no body camera footage at this point. It's not at this point now. It's just like they're trying to save face a little bit.
That's ridiculous, dude.
But now it's a PR story more than anything else. I'd be very surprised if Scotty actually faces any charges here and going the wrong way from a traffic direction from a cop essentially.
No, by the way, the 5 previous PGA players in front of him were all directed to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Give me a break, dude. There's no body cam footage. The guy didn't get it. He tore his $80 pants. Here's $80. Drop this case and let's move on with our lives.
Buy pants for the entire police department 100%. If he wants to. He's got plenty of money to do that.
And he would do it too. It's just absurd, man.
It sounds like it was just a
So they did a continuance of this?
They pushed back the arraignment.
Oh my God!
Probably to give everybody a little more time.
Got to gather evidence. How ripped are your pants? How ripped are they? Let me see that abrasion on your knee. I mean, give me a break at this point. Come on.
Sounds like the cop did something dumb in trying to stop him.
Yeah, and again, Zach says second-degree assault of an officer is crazy. That's a crazy charge. That's a crazy charge for a guy that jumped on your car. Not in uniform, essentially.
Well, especially if you have another cop who's told you to do the opposite thing. So basically, if you have
Correct.
two police officers who tell you to do opposite things, you're going to break the law by disobeying one of the two automatically. You can't
give me a break.
You can't help it there at that
absurd.
point.
It's absurd. I mean, it's absolutely absurd at this point. And to push it back, he should have been in there Tuesday morning today, and they just said all charges are dropped.
Now, I think he finished 8 shots behind Xander. So he would have had to have shot a 65 on the one day on Saturday that he did not play well. I still think Xander, I mean, it's an all-time record. 21 under that Xander shot is the best ever in a major. There's no asterisk because of Scotty Scheffler getting thrown in jail or anything on this tournament.
Hey,
it was
Scotty Scheffler
as legit as it gets.
Bro, Scotty Scheffler went to jail, came out, played a great
66,
round. Okay, so he had to do a news conference after. It's not like he had to go back to jail and spend the night in jail. Nothing changed. He had his full routine in the morning. There's no asterisk at all.
I can understand that maybe he was a little more
gassed,
exhausted, mentally fatigued from everything. I get that, but Xander 100% earned that with a spectacular week of play at Valhalla. And hopefully this, like when Phil Mickelson finally won the Masters and broke the seal, then he started winning a bunch of majors. I could see that happening for Xander as well. Number 2 in the world. He's certainly going to be in contention every time he tees it up in these majors. And now that he's got one, just takes a little bit of the pressure off a little bit. Just makes you feel, I think, probably a little more free and easy when you're out there.
Texted with our buddy Travis yesterday. He goes, I like him in the they don't call it the British anymore.
The Open.
The Open. His game is really suited for anywhere. It's so nice to see him break through, man. That was such a huge putt. Oh my God.
That was a fun interview.
That was awesome.
Thank you again to Xander Schauffele, PGA Tour, for helping make that happen. We'll come back. Next fun interview is Jesse Agler, the voice of the Padres. He will join us to kick off the 9 a.m. hour of Ben and Woods next year on 97.3 The Fan. So everyone, talks about doubleheader yesterday. Unusual for baseball, but I think what I want to ask Jesse about, because we got Jesse Agler here standing by on an Incorporator Tuesday, and Jesse joins us from Cincinnati, Ohio right now. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
It's good. It wasn't just the doubleheader yesterday. You called like 3 baseball games in the span of just over 24 hours. Now, that is a long stretch of baseball. Had you ever done that before?
That's a good question. I mean, probably.
Maybe
but
somewhere.
I'm not
but
sure.
Yeah, that's quite the stretch.
It was a lot.
Have you ever done an hour-long roundtable on Thursdays, commercial-free?
It feels like a doubleheader in another game sometimes.
I know that you're probably bummed, though, because a doubleheader in Atlanta cuts into your Cincinnati time.
Oh. No comment.
Right?
Or he's gone already.
Is he gone, or is he
No,
just...
I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah. He's being diplomatic
He is being
on the first
diplomatic.
day in Cincinnati. He can say what he wants on the last day when he gets out of town,
really
but you
good
want to be
point.
diplomatic on day 1 when you arrive
By the
in
way,
Cincinnati.
speaking of getting out of town, not a great forecast here this week. So we'll see how that goes.
You're kidding me. Not again.
Sam Levitt just wrecked
really
his
bad.
car.
Yeah, Sammy Levitt is about to pull his hair out. Oh, no. Really? Like, give me the lowdown, the really bad. Today looked good. Tomorrow, what does it look like?
So when we got here last night, I checked it, and today looked like it was okay, and then the next 2 days looked really bad. Now, today looks a little worse. Tomorrow looks a little better, and Thursday looks really bad. So, I mean, it changes pretty quickly here. You kind of have to take it a day at a time, but, just get ready for more. There's something's going to happen unless we get really lucky.
Do you think if they had a vote of the 30 major league teams and the proposal was San Diego is always a home game, so we make, 2 trips to San Diego rather than they come here, do you think anyone says no and they just, you know what, we'll just give the Padres all home games and we'll all spend as much time in San Diego as possible?
I think the players would probably be for it, but the owners who would be losing the gate would
that's
not.
true.
But you know what's pretty crazy? This was my kind of nugget of the day yesterday. Yesterday, we had a doubleheader in Atlanta. Since the last doubleheader in Atlanta, there had been 3 of them at Petco.
Whoa.
Wow. That's surprising. Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah. There had not been a doubleheader in Atlanta since 2021 before yesterday. That one also involved the Padres because we're very lucky like that. And in that time between then and yesterday, we had 3 different doubleheaders at Petco.
That's crazy. Talking to our pal Jesse Agler, something's going to have to give here, Jesse, in this series against the Cincinnati Reds. The Padres played really well on the road, but not so good against inferior opponents so far this season. So something's got to give. I loved that series in Atlanta. I really did. And, obviously capped by that comeback yesterday. That must have been a fun one for you guys to call.
Yeah, that was a really, really special game. It was, one of the favorite ones of the year. Obviously, the big comeback against the Cubs, the 8-0 game. You had the one at home against the Dodgers last month, where I think it was like 7-3 in the 3rd inning. And they came back to win. And, I mean, that one's right there with it. It was also, how sometimes when you're at a game, and I guess it's the same if you're watching it on TV, you kind of, even if it's like a 3 or 4 run game, you sort of feel like, all right, this one's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Even though intellectually it kind of feels like, you're in it, but it just sort of the way the game is flowing, you're like, all right, this kind of feels like it's over. But really, truly, the style that the Padres have made their own this year has made it so that even on days like that, and that was very much my feel during game 1 of the doubleheader, that, they're still going to have a shot. And they take those tough at-bats no matter what. And if there's a little crack in the opposing pitching, whether it's the starter or a reliever, they're going to make a play at it. And that's what happened there. And it really did seem as that game was going along, like, all right, this one is what it is. Reynaldo Lopez has been great, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, like, the door cracked open and they pushed it open and they pushed it all the way out. I mean, it was a really, really nice win. And a signature moment, I think, just kind of in terms of everything that Mike Schilt and the players have been preaching this year about, the way they want to approach games, the way they want to compete. And, that was as good of an example as you're going to get in game 1 of the doubleheader. As far as the Reds thing that you said, here's what I've come up with. and I said this yesterday at some point, I think for the 2024 Padres, at least for now, here's my line. Here's what I'm going with. It is not about who they are playing. It is about how they are playing. And I think that's really the way we need to approach it and look at it. And if they play a good game, they're probably going to win much more often than not, no matter who the other team is. If they don't play well, and this might sound obvious, but I think if you watch enough baseball, you understand what I'm saying. If they don't play well, it doesn't matter who's on the other side. They don't have a big enough margin, so that whether it's Colorado or the Yankees or anybody, if they don't play well, they're probably not going to win many games that they don't play well. But when they do play well, they can beat anybody. So I think I get as a fan, you're scratching your head like they've won 5 out of 6 series, and the only one they haven't won was the Colorado at home. Like, that doesn't add up. But they didn't play well against the Rockies. And it could have been the Rockies. It could have been anybody. They weren't going to win those games playing that way. So that's kind of like the way I'm looking at it, for now at least, here in 2024.
You anticipated my question, answered my question about that, and came up with a really good answer to it. We're talking to Jesse Agler, voice of the Padres here, and bullpen, the different options now that Mike Shildt has used, including Jeremiah Estrada coming in the 8th inning, and he just continues to get the job done. Just kind of your analysis of that out of kind of nowhere guy who wasn't talked about much in the offseason and worked his way into an opportunity with a good spring and then getting called up and now getting high leverage innings for the Padres.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's one of my nice little storylines that I'm enjoying right now because, the bullpen every year, generally speaking for any team, is kind of like this living, breathing thing. And sometimes it is an untamable beast, right? And you don't really know what you've got. And there's really only one way to figure out what you've got. And so, especially early on in the season, and we talk about this, right? Some of the more curious looking from the outside decisions that are made, when it comes to which pitcher is coming in when. I am sure on opening day, Mike Shildt had in his head, maybe even on paper, all right, in the 9th inning, it's going to be Suarez with a 3-run lead. In the 8th inning, it's going to be Peralta. In the 7th inning, it's going to be Matsui. In the 6th inning, it'll be some combination of De Los Santos and whoever. Like, I'm sure that there was some at least abstract idea of that going into it, but there was also the knowledge that, all right, just because that's the plan on day 1 doesn't mean it's going to be the plan on day 10 or day 20 or day 50. And, relievers are more volatile in terms of what they provide and produce than anybody else on a baseball team. And so you've got to stay nimble. You've got to be able to adjust. You've got to be able to be kind of wide-eyed, recognizing what's going on. Now, Robert Suarez, kind of his own case, right? He's, at this point, I think it's fair to say, an established closer in the big leagues. So he's got his role. He's going to do his thing. But, with these other roles, it is still, and I get, it feels like we've been playing baseball forever, but it's what, May 21st? So still a lot of time left in the season. And, just because this is the plan today doesn't mean it's going to be the plan in a month or 2 months. There are probably going to be guys that come and go in the bullpen as well. So Mike Shildt, Ruben Niebla, Ben Fritz, the bullpen coach, they're feeling their way through this. They're kind of testing different things out. Estrada got all the attention in the Friday night game in Atlanta when he came in, to get the save, obviously. But the test balloon was floated on the previous road trip at Wrigley. I don't know if you remember. He came in kind of like a more high than you would expect leverage situation against the Cubs. And it was kind of cool, right, because he had come up through the Cubs system. And he didn't have a great outing. It wasn't bad. He had to come out of the inning. And, they kind of helped him out and stranded his runners. But it was a little bit of a moment. Tony and I were like, all right, that's something to file away. And then, sure enough, he got the opportunity in Atlanta, struck out the side. And I love stuff like that. It's really fun to kind of follow it as the season goes along. And, yeah, it's always kind of a changing thing out in the bullpen. The hope, of course, is that by the time you get to the playoffs, which is where this team is trying to get, you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to do and who you're going to roll out in what situation.
Talking to our pal Jesse Agler, as we do every Tuesday here on Ben and Woods this morning. Jesse, how much have you guys been in the booth enjoying watching Luis Arias hit? Because I know when he comes to the plate, he's for a slappy singles hitter, man. It's appointment viewing for me. It really is. Every single AB, just what he can do with the bat. Sometimes it looks like it's past him when he hits it and hits it down the line. I mean, he is just a blast to watch, and I know your partner appreciates it as well.
Oh my gosh, we're having a blast, and for me to sort of get to watch Tony watch him is really cool. It really is. It's funny. We talked about this yesterday during the game. Like, over the last 3 weeks or whatever it's been since the trade, the number of people at the different ballparks who have kind of come up to Tony and sort of tried to like very gently tiptoe around the question with him because, they don't want to offend him by making the comparison. But
Right.
Tony's all about it. He's all about it. Like, this is the only guy pretty much in baseball right now who approaches it the way that his dad did. And he's having such a great time watching him. I'm having a great time watching both of them. And it's been really, really cool. I made a kind of like a joke, although I meant it, in the first day or two that Arise was with the Padres, that, he has now fulfilled his destiny by coming to San Diego.
Yeah.
Because if there is a fan base that appreciates, that style and that ability more than any other, it is certainly this one. And look, if you're old enough to, have the honor of watching Tony Gwynn take 4 at-bats every single night, there's an awful lot you're seeing right now that's going to remind you of that.
Jesse, the official word on Xander Bogaerts' injury was fairly positive. No damage on the initial imaging and some range of motion and strength in the shoulder. That was the official word. Was there any mood, though, as you guys left Atlanta and got on the plane, like doom and gloom or maybe cautious optimism that you felt?
No, I didn't really feel anything one way or the other. I think they're going to do some more tests today. It sounds like, and kind of take a look at it. Hopefully, that ends up being the case. These ones are tricky, though. I mean, the Reds. It's funny because that's where we are, obviously. And when we saw them a couple of weeks ago in San Diego, they had a couple of guys who didn't play in that series because they had been hit by pitches over the weekend. Encarnacion Strand was one of them. And, the x-rays came back okay, so it was just sore. They're just giving him some time. And then the next thing you know, a few days later, he goes on the IL with a broken wrist. So, these tests sometimes, they don't reveal things initially, but a guy knows it still doesn't feel right. And, with Xander obviously hoping for a best case scenario and that, the initial tests end up being correct. But I would imagine it's going to be a couple of days before you have any real sense of it. I mean, unless he just woke up this morning feeling great, which would be great. But obviously, the Padres have a nice collection of infielders right now. It stinks for Xander. You feel for him because he was definitely, it appeared, starting to get going and feeling good at the plate probably for the first time all year. And then this happens. So it's been a tough couple months for Xander. This only adds to it. But yeah, obviously as long as it's not a long-term thing for Bogaerts, I think they can cover it, for however many days they need to.
All right, we ready for the incorporator?
Let's do it, baby.
All right, this one comes from Good Juju in our YouTube chat.
I like that.
This morning, Paulie, if you would please.
Jaculiferous.
Jaculiferous. That means, Jesse, in botany or zoology, having dart-like spines, like a cactus or a porcupine. Jaculiferous.
Okay. Wow. That's a big word.
It is a big one.
Jesse hit apiary on the air yesterday.
Not even an incorporator.
Not even an incorporator. I was listening, and he said, isn't that where they keep the bees? The apiary. And I texted him, yes.
Did you get any of the Dylan Cease honey?
Did you get any of that honey?
No, I didn't get any of the honey.
Are you a honey?
But,
a honey fan?
I'm no disrespect to the apiarists out there, but no, I'm not actually like a huge honey guy. Although right now, after the doubleheader and hearing myself talk to you guys, I could probably use a little tea with honey tonight. So I might
honey.
duck down there when we head in. Yeah, might duck down there when we head in.
Dylan, may I have some of your fresh homemade honey direct from the apiary?
Ruben Nieves
By the
made
way,
it sound really awesome. He said it was bleeping delicious. I've never had honey that was bleeping delicious.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. But like, what I love about this is anytime you get a guy, a baseball player or a friend, anything, and they're just like truly, sincerely passionate about something that feels very random, like that's not connected to their everyday life, like that, has nothing to do with baseball or not. I love that trait in people, when they have a thing that they're like really, really into that has nothing to do with the rest of their life. I think that shows a great, like, sort of curiosity and kind of a great passion for living that, like that's a trait I really enjoy in people. So while I might not necessarily be big into honey myself, I absolutely love that, like, Dylan Cease has this very serious side hobby involving the bees. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, his thing. As a dad, I always feel like I need a thing. Like, oh, Dad, will you make your famous blank, right? And I don't have one, and I feel like I need one. Ribs or brisket, something. So I need something that, oh, my dad makes the best. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, the bees actually make the honey.
The bees make the honey. You got to harvest it and whatnot.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jackuliferous.
Jackuliferous, and it'll be good to have Joe
Can
Musgrove.
you text me that, please?
Yeah, you will text that.
Paulie will text you Jackuliferous. Good to have Joe
Not going to
Musgrove
remember
back
that one.
tonight. Expecting, of course, to go on a 2 or 3 week scoreless stint off the IL, just like you Darvish did. So that'll be great for the Padres starting rotation.
Keep Ellie off the base paths, and we should be in decent shape.
Sounds good to me.
All right, buddy.
And good luck with the weather. Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks.
Jesse Agler from Cincinnati, Ohio, after the late night last night. You could definitely tell. 3 games in 25 hours or so takes its toll on the vocal cords a bit. So, tea, lemon, Dylan Cease, honey, perhaps in Jesse's future.
Shout out to Jesse and Tony and Mud and Don and Sam Levitt yesterday, just doing the thing yesterday, just crushing it.
Got all the matchups for this series. We'll look ahead if they do get to play all the games at what the Padres are facing in Cincinnati this week. And Paulie's got a Reindl Report to get us to 10 o'clock here with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Back after traffic on 97.3 The Fan. This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. And looking at the matchups this week for the San Diego Padres, at least on paper, the schedule gods are kind on the pitching matchups. When the Padres hosted the Reds a few weeks ago, remember the Reds won the first game of that 3-game series behind Nick Lodolo, who shoved for 7 innings, 1 run. They also had trouble in the final game against Graham Ashcraft. Now, the Padres did rally to win that game. They don't have to face either of those guys in this series. Today, Joe Musgrove scheduled to come off the injured list to pitch against Andrew Abbott. Abbott is a lefty, so you got another chance against a left-hander. You've struggled. He has a pretty good ERA, 3.06, even though his record's 2-4, decent 1.14 whip. So that's today's matchup. Tomorrow, Michael King against Nick Martinez. Padres face Nick again. They did beat him first time they faced him back in San Diego. And then Thursday is Matt Waldron against Frankie Montas, who was on the injured list when the Padres and Reds faced each other at Petco Park. He's back now 2-3 with a 4.37. So a good pitcher, but they are
lefty as well, yeah.
They are no, Montas is ready.
Is he?
Yeah. They are dodging though the two guys that gave them the most trouble in that series at Petco Park. It doesn't mean anything. Every game it's his own little story. And sometimes you face a guy who you hit well, and then you can't hit him the next time. You face a guy you couldn't hit, and then next time you get him. So that happens all the time. But
he's a righty. I don't know why I thought he was a lefty. Came from Oakland, yeah? Who am I thinking of?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
Somebody.
Montas?
Montas, yeah.
He was with the Yankees.
He was with the A's, too, though.
He was with the A's before he was with the Yankees the last 2 years, yeah.
I could have sworn he was a left-handed
He was
pitcher.
mostly injured with the Yankees, though.
Yeah, all right.
But he's always been a right-hander. I don't think he ever changed.
He might have switched, Ben. Go back and find some film of him in Oakland. See, he used to throw lefty. No, I'm just an idiot. I'm getting him confused with somebody, and it's driving me nuts on who I'm thinking about. But, no, I mean, look, the Reds are scuffling badly. But they are led by one Ellie De La Cruz, who, if he gets on base, I mean, he stole 4 bags in 5 innings last week against the Dodgers. They can be a pesky-ass team, as we just saw them. They played the Dodgers pretty tough, so they can be a pesky team. You know, their
Padres
ballpark.
do not control base runners well.
They do not at all.
Some of that's the pitchers, like Darvish is just not a priority for him. But Campusano has not been good at throwing runners out when they have been stealing. So the best strategy there is just to keep guys off the base paths.
Keep them off
to
the
begin
base
with.
paths as much as you can. Campy's not throwing anybody out this year. Tough look.
Reds have lost 18 of their last 23 games.
This does not bode well for us, does it? That's the wrong way to feel. That is the wrong. Why am I now a nervous wreck for this Red series like I was against the Rockies?
Now, they did get a chance to had a full day of rest yesterday, came home after dropping 3 of 4 to the Dodgers, got to rest up. Padres, of course, had to play twice and then get on a plane and fly. So in terms of, perhaps energy level, the Reds will probably have the advantage in the first game today. The Padres, though, have been playing much better baseball than the Reds have lately. So I don't know which one you take. You want the rested team or the one that's playing better? I'd take the one that's playing better.
I want the team that's playing better, yeah,
but,
every single time.
And that'll be 340, and then another early exit for Ben and Woods on Thursday, a 10:10 first pitch with a 9:10 Eco Water SoCal pregame show on Thursday. So we'll have a 3-hour plus show to wrap up our week, and then we're going to take off the 4-day holiday weekend and be back on Tuesday after Memorial Day. So get your fill of Ben and Woods now before we shut it down a little bit earlier this week on Thursday at 9:10 a.m.
Drink it in. What are your big plans for Memorial Day, Paulie?
Not doing anything this year.
All right, well, uncommon.
Just going to be relaxing at home. Going to Vegas the following weekend.
Right.
For my anniversary. Not for
Now you're
Memorial
going
Day.
to Joshua Tree.
I am. I leave.
You're celebrating Memorial Day more than I am this year.
No, I'll be
You're
home.
going on vacation.
I'll be home in morning on Sunday, and Monday. So no, I won't be. I'm just going for Thursday night and Friday night to Joshua Tree.
Will you be back? I'm going to the Padres-Yankees game on Sunday, before work.
I will be back. I don't think I'm going down there at all. I mean, I may if Hannah gets a wild hair and we want to take the kids on Sunday because they're off on Monday. I may go down and catch a game, but I doubt it. I like watching on TV. I like staying at my house, except for when I go to Joshua
You really
Tree.
aren't a Yankees fan anymore.
No, I
you
can't.
used to be. But
I really hope that
totally.
I hope they beat the hell out of them.
Totally give them that up.
And I really hope that Juan Soto doesn't. If Juan Soto gets one, I hope it's a monster home run. But I hope they're down 9-1 when he hits it. So
Yes.
It wouldn't make me mad to see Juan Soto hit a tank just for the drama of it. But I just don't want it to cost us. No, I hope they get their ass kicked.
I mean, it's Petco Park still. Those balls will die at the warning track like they did so often at home. It doesn't change anything just because you're in a visiting uniform, does it?
Their pitching has been incredible this year without Garrett Cole, mind you. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I know. I know Bo still very much likes Juan Soto. I know he loves Aaron Judge as well. Maybe we do get down for a game. It's the Yankees. You go down and check out a game for sure. They
only come once every 2 years.
Yeah, you're going Sunday?
Going Sunday.
You got good seats?
No, I'm on my way to work, so probably
you're
in the
just
press
popping
box.
by.
Yeah,
Okay.
My buddy is going to be there though because he's a Yankees fan.
Okay.
So.
Oh, Scott?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's just in town. He's leaving Sunday after the game, but he's wanted to stop by. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm tired a lot. I think I was thinking of Jesus Luzardo. He was also an A. He was left-handed, but I know.
Did you
Jesus
think of that, or did someone else think of that
Somebody
for you?
said it, but I thought, yes, that's a good excuse to use. Yes, that's exactly what I was doing. Jesus Luzardo. All right, let's get a Reindl Report next.
All right, we'll take a final timeout back with Paulie's headlines to wrap things up with Ben and Wood. Oh, by the way, as long as we're talking Yankees, there are still tickets available for that series. You can go to Padres.com/tickets. See the Padres take on the Pinstripes once every 2 years. Even with the new balanced schedule, you don't get to see them every single year. So this is your chance to see Aaron Judge and company at Padres.com/tickets. Reindl Report coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Had a Game 7 last night with no Padre game late and no NBA games. Actually dug in and had the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers on for a while.
Game 7.
Yeah, it was in Vancouver, but Edmonton jumped out to the 3-0 lead. Vancouver looked like they were totally out of it. Then they scored twice late in the third period to get within one. So you get that frantic finish, which really only happens in hockey.
And box lacrosse.
And lacrosse, where they pull the goalkeeper to have that man advantage. And it's just like fire shot after shot after shot at the goal, hoping that one goes in and you can force overtime. It did not. And the Edmonton Oilers advanced to the Western Conference Finals. They'll take on the Dallas Stars. Big sports month here in Big D, here in Dallas, with both the Mavs and the Stars reaching the Western Conference Finals in the two sports that are in their playoff season
Fresh
at the
off a
moment.
World Series win, too.
Yep.
Jeez.
Enjoy it while you can, because it looks like the Cowboys are not going to be great.
They're used to that. They're used to that. By the way, Cowboys will still dominate 94% of sports talk radio today, with both of those teams being in the Western Conference Finals.
Have the first game of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Boston Celtics will be hosting Game 1 against the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
A bit of a surprise there. All right, we'll take our last check at traffic, and then Paulie's got some headlines in the Reindl Report to take us home to 10 o'clock here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Fish Market, serving the freshest catches from waters near, far, and everywhere in between. We just can't seem to catch a break this morning, guys. Very busy for you, especially in the North County. Fatal accident that happened a couple hours ago. Northbound 15 before Deer Springs Road. Right lane still blocked with emergency crews. And on the South 5 coastline, just past Encinitas Boulevard, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles. One is in the fast lane, the other in the center divide. Further down, got an accident clearing near Birmingham. Watch out for some debris in the slow lane on westbound 78, just before Jefferson. Accident has cleared on westbound 8 at Mulliston. We still got this other crash up ahead, though, right before Mission Gorge Road. Looks like that is in the clearing stage. Fresh, wild Alaskan halibut season is in full swing. Enjoy it perfectly grilled at the Fish Market, and then grab an extra piece to cook yourself from the market on your way out. The Fish Market, with locations downtown and Del Mar. The Fish Market, serving and offering only the freshest catches. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
Two stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And one story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right, indeed.
It is the Reindl Report, brought to you by the Frozen Ropes Summer Baseball League. The Frozen Ropes is now registering ball players age 6 through 12. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com for more information. We were just talking about the Boston Celtics taking on the Indiana Pacers. My first story has to do with a former Indiana Pacer, Steven Jackson. So, the story that went out a couple of days ago, Steven Jackson, the guy who dumped his fiancée at the altar on her wedding day.
Wow.
And then he went to a party.
Ooh. Right.
And the reports are it's because, well, she refused to sign a prenuptial agreement in case they were to get divorced.
Typically, that's something that you're going to want to get the ink on paper before the day of the ceremony.
Did Hannah make you sign a prenup? No.
Did you make her sign one?
Better not take.
You have
all,
to have something before you make anyone sign a prenup.
Please
Paul.
don't take all my records and my several guitars.
My adult league trophies.
My adult league. She already threw those away, as you know.
Should have gotten a prenup.
Remember that? Yeah, that's right. No.
So Steven Jackson is, people that know him or whatever, the reports started coming out that he had been trying for 6 months out from the wedding day.
Well, then you postpone
3 months
it. You
out.
postpone it.
2 weeks out, and she kept pushing it off, saying, I'm preoccupied planning the wedding. I got to go get my dress, blah, 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 blah. So people were dragging him for leaving her at the altar on her wedding day because she wouldn't sign the prenup. He went on Instagram Live recently and There are two sides to every story. Here's his side.
My nanny come back in there with a spook look on her face, like she still like she pulled me to the side and she still ain't signed it. Oh, I ain't getting married. Steph was like, she ain't signed a prenup. What we even here for? I'm like, yeah, dog, I ain't doing it. The preacher steps up. He's like, hold on. He say, now hold on. I know you love this girl. Don't make a drastic decision. I think you should just let God handle it. I say, huh? I think you should just let God handle it. Me, as a pastor, I don't believe in prenups. Nah, I know why she was fighting for you. You don't believe in prenups. It all makes sense. I ain't getting married. Damn what you believe in. I put everything in God's hand. And God is telling me to put the pen in her hand and make her sign this damn prenup. That's what God telling me. So God telling me and you two different things, partner. You know, I'm going to keep it all 1,000 with y'all. After we had party at the hotel, me and all my partners getting ready to go out that night. Two of her main squeezes that was there with her
friends
was with us that night. And I'm going to keep it funky. I downed one of them.
Oh, my God. Dude. I don't know that marriage had a lot of staying power, to be honest. It's one of the best. I need some clips of that. Partner, I want all of that. It's
Me and my
so
partners. Yeah.
good. Good for him, actually.
What did he say that? So one of her main squeeze friends.
Our friends were with him, and I then dimed her up.
After we had party at the hotel, me and all my partners getting ready to go out that night. Two of her main squeezes that was there with her was with us that night. And I'm going to keep it funky. I downed one of them.
I downed one of them, dimed one of them.
I don't even know what it means.
It's something
Use your imagination.
Something sexual, I would imagine.
You don't know what it means either, though.
I'm using my imagination.
I know.
It's called context clues.
You got a pretty good idea.
I don't know that had a lot of staying power.
Probably not. I mean, it's not fairy tale. It's the one true love of your life.
No, like
sort of story right there.
I understand, business and whatnot. But the prenup is a weird convo. It's a weird one to broach.
Right, if I'm the one being asked to sign the prenup,
we know you'll sign it. 100%. Okay, I'll sign it.
Probably
That's
yes.
fine.
But I mean, it's only fair in terms of now. If the marriage lasts for a long time, that's a totally different thing. Like, at that point, you're kind of partners. But if it doesn't work out after like 6 months, and there's no prenup, really shouldn't be necessarily a big deal. Just go back to what you had before. That's fine. Didn't work out, go back to what you had before.
Johnny's wife takes half Johnny's money. It's the greatest part of Eddie Murphy Raw. There's nothing better than that. What you gonna do? Get a job at a boutique? Here, I made $70. Put that with the rest. There's nothing better than. I've never laughed so hard in my whole life. Half. No, Hannah did not ask me to sign one. She probably will, though. Is there a post-nuptial agreement? Because if there is, she'll make me sign one. No question.
All right, we'll keep it. I got another fun story from the world of basketball.
That audio is so effing good. I can't stand it.
Steven
Paulie.
Jackson there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. I'll show you. I'll send you the video.
I got to see the whole thing.
Put it all together. A couple days ago, the Minnesota Timberwolves defeated the Denver Nuggets, punched their ticket to the Western Conference Final. They will take on, who do they play? Dallas, starting tomorrow night. And I told you, I'm going to make you an Anthony Edwards fan.
Yeah.
Woodsy.
I'm a fan already.
He is so,
he's so funny,
so good
dude.
on the court. Off the court, he is so funny. I sent you that thread that had all his best moments, post-game interviews and stuff. This was after the game on, Sunday evening. He's joining the Inside the NBA crew on TNT. Charles Barkley is talking with him.
To watch you play. Okay, I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring your ass.
Hey, can you send me a list of good restaurants? We're going to be there for like 5 days. I want you to send me a list of some good restaurants, okay?
Yeah. I'm going to find your number through somebody. I'm going to send them to you.
I appreciate it, my brother. Congratulations. I'll see you Wednesday.
Appreciate it, baby.
Bring your ass.
Bring your ass.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring your ass.
Save that. That's tournament of drops for sure. Bring your ass.
No hesitation.
None. Zero.
No filter.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas.
I love it
He is
so much.
22 years old.
Where's he from? Where did he
Georgia.
play? Georgia. He
No.
played it. Where did he play?
He played for Duke.
No, he went to Georgia.
Oh, he went to Georgia.
He
One of
went to
Adam's
the University of Georgia. He's from Atlanta. Went to Georgia. Not for long. First round draft pick, first overall pick
Bring your ass.
of the Timberwolves in 2020. And now is arguably one of, if not the best player in the NBA. And he's
Bring
22.
gas.
He's talking to Charles Barkley.
I mean,
by
people
the way.
who watch a lot of basketball, he's the most Michael Jordan-like player we've seen in a long time.
All right, man, I'll watch it.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas.
It's so good.
I
So
love him, dude. I love
the
him.
internet did what the internet does, and if you now go to www.bringyaass.com, it automatically takes you to the Minnesota State Tourism website, exploreminnesota.com.
That is so good, dude.
It's a new advertising campaign.
Bring gas.
Bring gas. Minnesota. Bring gas. Oh,
Bring gas.
it's brilliant.
So good. All right,
Oh,
finally.
that's great audio today. Oh, my God.
Another
Partner.
conversion attempt here for our old pal Woods. I know you're not big on cartoons.
I'm not.
The adult cartoons.
never
I'll
was.
watch the adult. I like South Park. I think King of the Hill is my favorite cartoon that they've put out. I'll watch some Bob's Burgers maybe. But King of the Hill, we talked about this a while ago.
I liked
They've got
Beavis
the-
and Butthead when I was in college.
Sure.
Because they would play music videos and they would comment on them. It was great.
Now,
I was
Beavis
all
and
in.
Butthead had a revival.
Yep.
It was okay. King of the Hill. We've talked about it before. They've got the reboot coming back, and they're already on to season 2. They haven't aired season 1 yet, but they're already developing season 2.
Okay.
And Pamela Adlon, who is the voice of Bobby Hill,
Damn
who
it,
is just
Bobby.
one of the greatest characters, at least in cartoon history. I love Bobby Hill so much. She did an interview, and she was talking about how they're working on season 2. Season 1 will come out next year. And she gave a little nugget. It does take place in the future, so it's not going to be like Bobby's not going to be a 12-year-old kid like he
No,
was.
it's not like the Simpsons who have not
Right.
aged in 35 years.
Exactly.
So he's like an older kid.
They
or
took
an older dude.
a 20-year break or however long it's been, 15 years.
So he's probably 32, 33.
He's going to be 21 years old.
Oh,
Bobby
21,
Hill,
okay.
and he's a chef at a fusion restaurant in Dallas. So Mike Judge and Greg Daniels, they're the ones that came up with the original show.
Bobby's cooking fusion.
Damn it, Bobby, what the hell?
What is fusion? I can't wait already. Like
There's a lot of possibilities here. He's,
Does Mike Judge do the voice of Hank? Is that
Yeah.
who-
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
now,
He's brilliant, man.
Dale Gribble, the voice of Dale, has passed away. He passed away
Oh,
recently.
no.
So he will not be there for the,
So
for the
Dale
new
won't be
revival.
there.
But Bobby Hill, he's a 21-year-old chef at a fusion restaurant in
chef.
Dallas. He's in a relationship. He's his own young man now.
Cannot wait. All right, I'm in. I'm all in. I was getting my hair cut recently, and they were running some old Kings of the Hill.
It's so
And
good.
I was dying. I was dying laughing.
King of the Hill was all right. I did not like South Park. I could not stand Beavis and Butthead.
Really?
Oh, my-
I liked it because of the music. They would
No.
play songs, and, I like that. But,
Can't believe Ben didn't like Beavis and Butthead.
yeah, it doesn't surprise me. South Park, I didn't like either. Just, it's brilliant. And those two guys, Trey and what's his name?
Matt Stone,
They're
yeah.
brilliant. Brilliant. It was the voices. It was Cartman. Honestly, it
I agree
ran
with you
me
there.
out.
The
It ran
actual
me out of it.
comedy
The comedy's
was
brilliant.
genius at times.
But it was the freaking voices,
get
man. And I just said, I can't. This is hurting my. Same thing for, and this gets me killed. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Hear nothing but great rave reviews about it all the time. One of the best shows of all time. It's that one guy with the high squeaky voice, and I can't watch the show because he ruins it for me. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Charlie?
Yes. Yeah, Charlie. He's the one. It has turned me off of it entirely. And I'm like, I want to like it so much. And every time I watch it, it makes me nuts. Mike Judge is a UCSD alum, Derek says. I didn't know that. Get him on the
Usually I
show.
know all the locals.
Yeah,
but
did
no,
you not know
I did
that?
not know that
All
either.
right. If anybody knows where we can get in touch with Mike Judge, I'd be
No, I'd put him on the show. Absolutely.
in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
In a heartbeat. Thank you, Paul. It was a really good Reindl Report today. Had a lot of fun with that.
According to
Bring your ass. Charlie Day is his name. I can't stand him. I cannot stand him.
Bring gas.
Yeah. Sorry.
According to the internet and our own Adam Klug, we will have tickets to give away to Padres Yankees on tomorrow's show. So, opportunity to win your way to Petco Park this weekend with the Bronx Bombers coming into town. I believe all shows tomorrow on 97.3 The Fan will have Padres Yankees tickets to give away. So, just a little added incentive to join us for the Wednesday edition of the program tomorrow. It is a Big League Wednesday. Paulie, here's how this works. Paulie will text Adam Jones tonight.
Yep.
Adam Jones will not respond.
Correct.
At all. And then sometime right before the show, he will say, oh, yeah, we're good, dog. And we will have him on probably at 7:30. But every once in a while, it goes awry because we didn't know that he was going to be on an airplane or something. So,
well, he was texting me 2 days ago and saying, you guys need to bring your asses out to Baltimore. And I said, he goes, tell your company to send you out here. I just said,
it's easier to get you than Barcelona, I guess.
We don't even have a copier. You're going to send us to Baltimore? I don't think so, buddy.
Anyone have any points we can use
seriously.
or something? All right, that's it for us. Annie and Elston are coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. For Paul Reindl, Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. From all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.